And we are live. What's up, guys? Thank you for tuning in for another glorious live stream. We got the one, the only John Anthony Lifestyle, formerly known as JMULV. So, if you guys have been following this channel for a while, you know JMULV is a MVP of the channel. You know he's been on several live streams. But this one, we're gonna mainly focus on his recent progression in game for the past year. He's been doing a lot of threesomes and orgies and a lot of crazy shit that frankly has been fascinating even for me. Usually it's hard to impress me, but cool menage a trois in Brazil. So just before we start, for anyone who's not familiar with you, do you want to give a quick background?
Yeah, what's up? Oh, here, not good. Should we put headphones on?
I can hear you just fine, dude. I don't see any background.
Okay. I'm hearing an echo. It might be because, okay. All right, so I've been in the game since about, let's see, I think the first time I ever did formal game was 2009. I hit the first 100 girls in 2012, June 2012. I hit 1,000 at the end of December 2018. Currently at 1,290, 1,290 girls. I'm very big on tracking actual results. So I'm like referred to as like the lay count guy, the crazy lay count guy who actually cares about results in the game, which have been dismissed by most coaches for who knows what reason. And I'm very big on making the game very scientific. I come from a background of computer science, psychology, engineering. I'm very big on treating this as a skill game, no different than poker or chess, and just optimizing and evolving it to an extreme amount, like an extreme rate. So I always show in my videos on my channel that my results were exponential, and my best year was 246 from mid 2017 to mid 2018. But I think I have it worked out now where I could do 1,000 in a year with virtual assistants if I wanted to. But anyways, I like to take a whole scientific approach, and I'm like the only coach, I guess, that calls out other coaches. Alex is the only channel that I currently endorse on my YouTube. So yeah, I guess that's a good overview. And I was told I can do a 10-second shout out up front. So check out platinumdatingseason.com. It's my 8-week mentorship, basically to bring you from whatever level you're at to advanced or elite. It's 8 weeks of training, 32 calls, half of them with me. But you can see the details on that site. Book a free 30-minute call with me. So yeah, let's jump into it.
Yeah, so I want to jump straight into how your game has evolved in the past year since you moved to Brazil. Do you want to give a quick explanation on that?
Yeah, so I was running 6 to 12 girl rotations for a while. I haven't had a real job since early 2013. I was running a pickup mansion in Vegas in 2013 where I had students living in the house. And I've just been traveling around the world since then. I was in Poland all last year. I spent some time in Kiev, in Medellin, Colombia, in Puerto Rico. I did a year in Vegas, time in Miami, San Diego, China, Portugal, England. Just been bouncing all around. And I ended up in Brazil in February. And rather than do the standard, at one point I had about 15 girls in rotation. Rather than just run the standard with the main girl and the whole rotation, we've actually been combining a lot of the rotation, having lots of threesomes and foursomes. And it's gotten pretty interesting. There's been some like new innovations. So in the past 6 months, what I've found is that once we have a threesome with a girl, it's very conducive to putting her on rotation to start a group chat. So me and the main girl I was seeing, after we had a threesome with a girl, I'll go into the different methods of how we were acquiring new threesomes. But after we'd have a threesome, we would put her in a group chat with me, my girl, and the girl we just had the threesome with, and we'd all become like friends. We'd share pictures of ourselves, flirt with each other, etc., and plan our hangouts through there. And of course, it builds a lot of compliance. I could have my girl suggest hangouts or plans or whatever, and they would become good friends, the two girls, and then we would just mix and match, like to have foursomes. So we'd have one girl over. How about we invite this other girl too? Okay, we had a foursome. A couple weeks ago, we had our first fivesome during my birthday party. We had a new threesome with a girl that was at my party during the party. And then one of our regulars came over, this 19-year-old, and it was going to be a foursome. And then the roommate of the original threesome girl wanted to join in as well. So it turned
Let's
into
take a quick step back. So let's say you were to move to a new city, right? Like let's start from scratch, because I think for a lot of guys, what you're describing just sounds like a porn movie or something like that, like something that they don't really see as real. So what, like if you were to move to a new city, like how would you go about like creating, what you have right now?
So my whole model, it's like a funnel. So the three main lead sources at the top are online game, night game, day game. I think day game is mostly a waste of time just because the bang for the buck is not there. Almost my first 400 girls were almost all night game. I thought online was cheating. Then I started incorporating a lot of online. But what I would do whenever I'm going to move to a new city is I change my Tinder Plus to be swiping in that city, usually 2 weeks in advance. And I get the whole first week lined up with like 2 to 3 dates each before I even arrive. So I'm looking to build like 4 to 5 girls on rotation pretty quickly within a few weeks. Then I want the rotation up.
You're really doing straight to the house dates now, right?
Yeah. Yeah, I always try straight to the house first, which works in most places except Ukraine. And yeah, I have all these friends moving to Ukraine, like glorifying it. I would never go back. It takes like 3 to 5 dates for a close. It's like almost impossible to close on the first date. No girl wants to come straight to the house.
Yeah, dude, I remember how flustered you were when you were in Ukraine. Like, you would send me like, God fucking damn it. Went on a 2-hour date and she gave me a kiss. Like, I gave her a kiss on the cheek. Fuck.
Yeah, that was hell. Yeah, I have friends right now that are like,
no, it's hell.
they're going on like 4th dates and still can't pull home. Usually straight to the house. And I've gotten my conversion stats. So I judge like the funnel skill level stuff through quantitative metrics. So out of like 10 phone numbers, how many can I get set up on dates? Out of 10 dates I set, how many can I get to show up? This is how I train guys too. Like, this is how I measure everyone's skill. Out of 10 dates I go on, how many can I bring back to the house? Out of 10 that I bring back to the house, how many can I close? And out of 10 that I close, how many can I retain? And I have most of those.
What's like a quick rundown of the stats for you on that? Just like a ballpark.
Most of the, it's close to like 90% for, not for phone numbers to meet up, but once I have a date set, I can pull like 90% of the girls home from public dates, and I can close usually about 85 to 90% of the dates that are set. And then I can retain about 85 to 90% as well.
Okay, that's quite good if you can retain. That's a high amount.
I have a lot of. I can go into that now at some point too, but I have like some real big hacks on locking almost every girl on rotation pretty easily.
Yeah, you will definitely have to crack into that. What about flaking? What's your like flake rate? Like, if you have a date set up, what percentage of girls actually show
up? I haven't calculated that. There's a lot of variance. Like, sometimes you'll get like a full day stack. They all show up. Sometimes none show up. I just have a standard confirmation text sequence, and I'm in this business mentorship because we're expanding our 8-week training program. And they say, what was interesting is this guy has gone through like tons of sales meetings and stuff for prospects to come on that are interested in high ticket services. And his confirmation sequence for getting the prospect to show up is identical to what I came to at the end of my optimization. It's basically texting the night before around 6 or 7 p.m. And I had like
the morning off.
What's that?
Dick pic the morning off.
Yeah. So night before, it's basically see you tomorrow at time whatever, comma, yeah. And I make an explicit confirmation. I used to just say like excited to see you tomorrow with a wink face. But the problem with that is they can be down or flaking, and it doesn't require a response like explicitly. So now I just say like comma, yeah, question mark. If they don't reply in the morning, by the morning, I send ... question mark. If they still don't reply like an hour or two before the date, I'll be like, is whatever time still a good time? I still assume it's on. And if they do confirm at any point, I reply and say like, cool, see you at whatever time. And then an hour before the date, I'll say like, text me when you're on the way, just so they can.
Your confirmation sequence is quite similar to mine. So what I do is usually the day before, I will just like give her like a reminder. So like I'll be like, hey, how's your day going? And she's like, oh, good. How's yours? I'll be like, good. Just finished a big workout, looking nice and fit for our date. Or I'll be like, good. Looking forward to meeting you tomorrow. So kind of like an implicit reminder. Then the day of the date, I will get the conversation started with a meme or like an hola linda or like a yo sexy. And then when she responds, I will say, hey, still good for tonight. And then usually 20, 30 minutes before the date, I've actually been using a lot your shower text. Kind of hop in the shower, text me when I'm away. So that works quite well. So that's kind of it's pretty much the same exact concept. We're just using slightly different verbiage. But okay, so you move to a new city, you get a high amount of girls in rotation. How do you go about converting those into kind of like the threesomes and the foursomes that you're having? What's the next step?
Okay, so the next piece is I want to find out. Okay, so there's three major ways that we're having the threesomes. The primary way is just talking to girls that are already in the rotation. And so what I do is I say, "Are you bisexual?" And I usually don't just come right out, because then they know what's up, and they know that they know like what you're trying to do, and some can get offended. So I usually say like, "Hey, I had a dream about you with a girl." It's the same techniques they use in the Bible. Basically, no one can verify that it actually happened.
Running that Jesus game.
Yeah. So I'll say like, yeah, I had a dream that you can like sexually frame like that too. Hey, I had a dream that we had this crazy sex. Oh, are you the asshole for having that dream? No. So
and these are girls already in your rotation, right?
Yeah. So I'll say like, oh, I'll make some excuse, whether it be a dream or like something happened where I was just curious or whatever. And then if they say yes, then you know how like the whole like classic detective story where there's like two criminals detained and they're like, your buddy's giving you up. Like if you don't give him up too, you're going to go to jail. It's basically like that. So I say like, hey, I have a female friend. I was showing her like a picture of you and she really wants to meet you. And she's really interested in meeting you. Like here's pictures of her. Like, do you think she's pretty? Yeah. Like, of course you send like the best pictures of that girl. Then like, hey, send me, I don't say like, do you want to have a threesome? Then I say, send me pictures of you and I'll show her. It's all like most things I do in game, like the frame is assumed. And it's the same when I train guys on like job interviews or like getting an apartment or whatever, getting a raise. It's all just assuming the frame has already happened. When I pull girls home from a nightclub, it's all assuming it's true. And you just talk in that frame, which is the most powerful way to get compliance and persuade people. And so I'll say like, do you, or I'll say, send me the best picture of you. Send some pictures. I show my chick, and it's almost always, I don't think there's been any cases where the girl, because we won't even ask her, first of all, like, or I won't have her on rotation if she's not attractive. But like for the other methods, like we won't even approach girls that aren't attractive. We won't. The third method is one's called approach, one's utilizing girls on rotation, and one is having a joint Tinder. So we show the pictures. I'm like, she thinks you're pretty too. The three of us should meet up. When are you free? And then sometimes like if they're a little hesitant, which doesn't happen that often, usually they're just like, yeah, we can all meet up. Because I say like, let's all meet up and see how we get along. Let's see how the chemistry is. But if they're a little hesitant, I say, don't worry. We don't have to like, sex isn't expected. Let's all hang out and see how it goes. But like, of course it's going to go down.
Sex isn't expected, but heavily encouraged.
Yeah. So we do it like that. And then we hang out and then we just get into, I start kissing one of them, kissing the other. Like we chit chat for like 10 minutes. And then start kissing with one, start kissing with the other, and then shit goes down. Then at the end of the hookup, we put them in a group chat. I say like, oh, we should all hang out again soon. Put in the group chat. And then like my chick will suggest or the other chick will suggest or sometimes I suggest. But we just use all the communication in the future for the three of us goes through the group chat.
That's a pretty interesting thing. I never thought of that. But yeah, like creating a group chat for those dynamics is a pretty it just makes the communication a lot easier. You're not playing telephone. Yeah,
and whenever we take like a good picture, like me and the main girl sing, we'll like blast it to like every group chat, and we'll send like her sucking my dick into those group chats and stuff like that. We have like our go-to like little vault of nice stuff.
What percentage of rotation girls are down for this kind of thing? These kind of shenanigans?
Like half.
Okay.
I would say, because like I'm usually running like 14 or 15, and like we have like 7 or 8 of them. And then
what kind of responses do you get from the other half, like the partner now? They're just like, sorry, I'm not into it, or
well, it's interesting. A couple of them like had never had a threesome before, or like even if they say they're not into girls, I'm like I still try sometimes. So like I've had girls be like, oh no, like I'm not that into girls, and I'm like, well, I have this really pretty friend, and she thinks you're really pretty. Like check out these pictures of her. Like, have you ever had a threesome before? No. We should try it. You might like it. And if they're like, oh, I don't know, or like I'm not into that stuff, I say like another good like blanket objection handler, both in game and sales, is to say like, oh yeah, I knew someone that had that same worry and they tried it. It was the best experience ever. So I remember that's how I got RSD Tyler to kiss a lesbian, like in 2012. We were like at this the only after hours in Philly after a boot camp, there was like this gay club, and sometimes there was like hot chicks working in, or hot chicks like going there on their nights off. We went in there was like this hot lesbian, and I was just trying to show off, and I was like, you should kiss my friend Tyler here. And she's like, oh my God, I've never kissed a guy. And I was like, no, it's cool. Like,
oh my God, I've never kissed a ginger.
Yeah. I was like, it's cool. Like, I have a friend that was lesbian, and she had never kissed a guy, and it was like such an eye-opening experience, blah, 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 blah. And she's making out with Tyler. Probably one of the rare occasions that he kissed a stranger in a club. So the other two methods, the other two methods are a joint Tinder, which we were kind of late to the game in that. And it was kind of interesting because my chick was used to, when she would do a right swipe, it would be like a match like every time. So she was used to like, you know, that like bang on compliance from swiping. And then we're in this joint Tinder, and a lot of the swipes obviously didn't turn to matches. And then there's like the chicks aren't replying over text all the time. Same with the colder.
When you're doing the, let me just quickly ask this. When you're doing the joint Tinder, do you have it set as like man looking for woman or woman looking for woman? Because I feel like that's going to play a big role.
I think it was woman looking for woman, but we like burnt through the pool pretty quick.
Oh.
Because then it only shows you bi girls.
Yeah.
So I don't know. We didn't do a ton with that. It was more just because we already had our hands full. Like for a while we were having like, I remember one weekend we had like 5 threesomes or something like that, and like there was a lot of weeks. It was hard. It was going to be like too much because there wasn't even a lot of time just for like one-on-one. Because she was working full time and shit, and like each night of the week we would have different girls come over for threesomes, and like sometimes it's just annoying because then the girl, like especially on a weekend or something, the girl will sleep over, and then okay, let's all go to the beach, and then like let's all like go do something else, and then you know it was taking away time. It's like a good problem to have, I guess. It was taking away time like one-on-one with my chick. Sometimes we would just, like be feeling like, oh God, we have a night to ourselves. Well, there's not chicks here. But in terms of the foursomes, it was really just like asking on both sides, like, hey, we know this other girl. We've already had 2 existing threesomes. Now we're saying like, now I'm doing the same thing I did to orchestrate the first threesome, but I'm using it with 2 separate threesome groups to orchestrate the foursome. So I'm saying, hey, we have this other friend, and it's even easier compliance because they've already hooked up with you in a group situation before. Or like we have this other friend, send the picture. And we even had a situation once where one of the girls was like, oh, she's not really my type, because it was a girl that was like with short hair. And but she did it. She's like, I'll do it anyways. I like you guys. So that's how we were doing the foursomes. And it's kind of funny too, because you're still like exercising, like you're like the orchestrator as the man or whatever, like putting all this together. And you're still exercising like, like a leadership and discipline, and or like basically bringing down the hammer, so to speak. Ta-da. No, but we had a situation where it was the main girl I'm seeing, this other girl with fake tits and a big ass, and the 19-year-old, and all 3 of them were like on their knees in front of me, like giving me head. And then I'm like, who wants to sit on it first? And the 19-year-old was like, let's play. It was in Portuguese, but she's like, let's play rock, paper, scissors. And then one of them got pissed off, and she's like, I'm not gonna like fight over him. Like I already just fucked him during the day today. And then like my like the number one chick was like, well, what the fuck, like that kind of shit. And then after we all hooked up, she was like kind of not liking that girl, and she's like,
I think what you're describing is literally like beyond a fantasy for, I would say, 98% of the pickup community. Like these kind of sexual scenarios are just like outside, like not even that it's like outside what they can achieve. It's like outside their imagination even. But yeah, that's why I like having you on. So what's the third? So run me through how it works with cold approach, the third approach.
Yeah. To your point, like it's fucking annoying because like in every YouTube video I put out, it's that the girl I bring on has to be a paid hooker, which is like a common stupid argument that's been like through the whole way. Like I when I hit 100 girls in 2012, I've been like steadily reporting. I put 300 in a row on Instagram. I had over 100 girls pulled on infield by 2014. Like I have like by far the most proof. I mean, Bradicus shows a lot of proof too, but he's like totally nuked off the face of the internet.
I mean, we've kind of discussed this. I mean, like, again, I get called a racist all the time because of one ad I have, which says, "Let's meet in the lobby just so I can make sure you're not 300-pound black guy." So because of that line, I must clearly be a racist. And all kinds of other weird shit like I'm ugly, or I either get called like I'm really ugly or I'm a perfect Chad and I'm only getting laid because of my perfect looks. So yeah, you can't take any fucking whatever even put any thought into the comments that you get. I mean, trolls be trolling.
Like just now I'm looking at the chat. This guy is not alpha, not going to watch this by. There's probably a guy that's been with like one chick, two chicks.
Oh, yeah. He's trolling, man. Because again, when you feed the trolls, they troll more. You can't feed the trolls.
I get enjoyment out of fighting with these guys because half of them are retarded. Like in the different forums and stuff like that.
It's like the equivalent of fighting with a homeless guy. Even if you win, you still lose.
I know, but it kind of like it reinforces that there's like next to zero respect in this game for the guys that have accomplished a lot. And I wanted to say this quick, that the community and all the like shit talking on the top guys in the forums to like be cool or like step up has driven away like most of the advanced guys. And it's like driven away. Like I've talked to a lot of them. I'm good friends with a lot of the advanced guys. So are you. And they're like, listen, man, I've been with like 400 girls. Why the fuck am I going to waste my time and have like some little fucking faggot in the forums just say, oh, you're beta and like all this stupid shit, or be like, you're a loser, like fuck you, or like your girls are all paid, and like all the common stuff that everyone says that's not getting laid.
I mean, dude, for me, literally, it's when a crazy homeless guy yells at me. Like it doesn't even enter my reality. It's like a crazy.
But a crazy homeless guy is like an exception, where like this is the commonplace thing.
But this is not just in the pickup community. This is for literally.
No, I know.
If you look at the fitness community,
but the people that made it to the top, like you and me, like we got there by befriending the top guys. Like the whole way through the pickup journey, I was always trying to find people better than me at every little area of the game. Who can retain girls better? Who can text better? Who can run their dates better? Who can do their night game and day game better? And then I would befriend them and hang out with them as much as I could and learn as much as I could from them, so that I could adapt and strengthen my game in those areas accordingly. And I have no shame doing that even at this level. And that's like the mindset that's got me to this level. Like when you came onto the scene a few years ago, and we've talked about this before, but I approached you and was like, oh, I think this guy's doing online game better than me. And that hadn't happened in an area of game in a long time.
Facebook approached me.
But
most
of these guys just like would rather shit talk than learn. And
I feel like there's a whole tangent we can go into that we've kind of covered.
No, I don't really give a fuck. It's just like it's like an interesting phenomenon. Like guys would like rather devote their time to like come in and like talk a bunch of shit because they're jealous, or they have to like cognitive dissonance rationalize why someone's like.
I mean, if you watch the last live stream I did where we did live call-ins, like we had quite a few prank callers. Like this one guy kept calling in and saying, what do I do if when I get a match, I start jerking off to her picture? And like Nitin was trying to answer the question seriously. I'm just like, dude, like it's a fucking troll. Hang out.
My old business partner got some dudes to like jerk each other off to get into state. He like made this argument in the forums that it was like the best way to get into state.
All right, so let's kind of get back into the threesome game. So kind of run me through how it works with cold approaching for threesomes.
Okay, so cold approaching. Here's the game plan. You have your chick going first. Your chick approaches, like usually with just like, hey, I thought you were pretty, or like I usually have her tell at some point that she thinks the girl's pretty, because that's like she's not just there as like a friend.
Yeah, right.
And then if it's at a nightclub, if it's at a bar or club, I try to have. Oi. Entendeu? Okay, this girl speaks minimal English. If it's at a bar or club, I will have them throw off my train of thought. Oh, I'll have the girl isolate the girl to the dance floor. That's like a typical good spot. They go on the dance floor, they start close dancing, they start kissing. Then I come in. Now, I've been doing this for years. Like I typically have a bisexual main or girlfriend in every city I'm in, and we just it's actually very easy to pull with a hot female wing. Uh-huh. Like Mystery said, I'm a big proponent of Mystery's stuff, the stuff that works from it. And he said that like a strong, he calls it a pivot, a female wing. Like a pivot is better than like any male wing, because it demonstrates pre-selection. So it's like a hot female that's already approved of you. So it bypasses the new girl's approval process. And the other big thing is that like a lot of the objections go away. Like she doesn't need to worry about if you're a serial killer, if you're some fucking creep, et cetera, because this other girls like vetted you. So you have like bang on compliance. So you come in after they're kissing and then you say, hey, me and my girl think you're really sexy. That's like the way I always come in. Me and my girl think you're really sexy. And then you just handle logistics from there. So I just say like, hey, look, we live, and I like to show them like on the map. So I'll open up Google Maps and I'll say, hey, look, we live over in this area. Let's all go there and, drink, or let's all go there and smoke hookah or whatever. Let's all go there and hang out on the view. And then if there are any objections, they're usually like very minor. And I'll teach my girls in advance, or I usually just deal with them myself, to be honest, or I'll tell them what to say at the time. But you can tell them like how to, I can't leave my friends is like the most common one. And also like how to deal with we're not going to be gone that long. Like we ran into a legitimate like 9-5 at brunch a couple months ago. And there's this blonde chick with fake tits and tattoos. And we just talked to her briefly, and then we invited her to come hang out. I showed her on the map. So there's no make out. It was a daytime, like we were eating brunch too at this place by the water. And she was with like her brother and like his wife. And we're like, hey, let's go there for a little bit. And she's like, oh, I'm with my brother and his wife. And we're like, oh, we'll Uber you back here in like 15 minutes, et cetera, et cetera. She comes and like bangs for like 5 hours and then tells us she has like a fucking husband and shit.
So this was at brunch?
Yeah.
That's fucking epic.
And then she stayed.
I'm gonna go have a threesome with these with this nice couple.
But then she stayed
a little late.
She stayed on rotation. She was like sneaking away. Like I try not to bang married chicks so much anymore, but like she was sneaking away from him. So living together and shit. She was sneaking away from him a bunch, and like every time they would fight or whatever, she would just try to sneak away, and then she actually, I don't think I told you about this. She actually was like, we're fighting a lot. Like, she's like, she was telling me like, oh, I think about you when I bang him. They've been together like 5 years. She's like, I think about, this girl's like a 9'5". My chick's really hot too. And it's probably the hottest threesome I've had. And she's like, I think about him when I bang you. And like, I really like you guys. And we were all a good fit, the three of us. And so the three of us started talking about doing like a 3-way relationship. And this chick was like, if I leave his house, like I'm gonna need somewhere to live. And I have an extra room in the penthouse here. And so she was like asking to like move in, and then like
slippery slope though. Like if she turns out to be crazy shit.
They both, and my chick was down for it, and that chick was like totally down. It's like I'll move in, and like 3 of us can date, and we're gonna go travel, like Instagram all this shit. And I like vetoed it because she was taking like hard drugs and stuff here and there. Well, I shouldn't say here and there. Pretty much every time we would hang out, she was like taking drugs, and I've hung out with a lot of girls like that, and I was like, that girl's gonna start like fucking influencing us to do drugs, or like she basically she would like drive drunk, and like she was just kind of like one of those, just like a little bit too much of a partier. Like she's like 25, but like that, so that was a problem. And I was worried about like loyal, or like alliances forming, because the girl, no, like really
2 girls against you or something like that.
I really want to, because like my dream situation is I want to have like a bunch, like 4 or 5 live in like 9-5s or 10s. That's kind of like the end goal. And like this was like a step in the right direction, but it has to be done with like the correct rules in place. There needs to be like, not like a dictatorship, but there needs to be like Hugh Hefner,
monarchy.
Like basically what Hugh Hefner was doing without paying the chicks. Although I wouldn't mind like paying for housing. And like guys, I don't mind saying that openly either. That doesn't mean I'm paying for the girls. It's just I would rather like have more time to spend with the girls and just have them live with me for free and have them not work. And we all just do cool shit together. So point being, like I just vetoed it between like her abusing drugs and like not wanting there to be alliances, because we had like sometimes me and my chick would fight. The girl would have to like pick sides, like the third girl or the second girl, the third person. She would have to like pick sides. Like one time we were in a fight and like we both hit up the girl, and the girl told me she'd come over here and hang out. And then my chick was like, no, come meet me and this other girl for lunch. And then I'm like, I'm going to be mad if you don't come see me. And then my chick's like, I'm going to be mad if you don't see me. She ended up coming and seeing me and banging me. And my chick apparently was cool with it, but I don't think she really was. But I just didn't want those alliances. And she doesn't speak English. My Portuguese is fairly fluent, but it's not as good as theirs. So like sometimes they'd be like, or a lot of the time they'd be like fast talking, and then you're kind of, I don't know. So for all those reasons, I didn't do it. And plus, like, I didn't know her well enough to have her move into my fucking house. And then she's like always in my space and shit, even though she's hot. So it was very tempting.
You got some quality problems, bro. So let me ask you this: out of these 3 methods, which one works the best? Do you
find? Definitely utilizing existing rotation girls, because you have the most compliance. Although they're all good. Like, it sucks with Corona right now. It's tougher on the cold approach. Like I had a lock in San Diego. I had a penthouse across from a nightclub called Park. That was like a really nice nightclub, and it was literally directly across the street. So it was like 10 feet, and we would just go into that nightclub and be like, hey, there's a smoking section. So we'd isolate a girl in the smoking section. That's my place up there. There's a jacuzzi on the rooftop penthouse. Let's all go drink champagne in the jacuzzi. If we wanted to have a foursome that we'd pull from cold approach, we'd approach a 2 girls together. She'd go up to one. Hey, I think you're pretty. Take her to the dance floor, start close dancing. The whole dance floor idea is so they could close dance with their faces and get into like kissing. And then I would bring in the other one and I'd be like, hey, are you going to let them have all the fun? Like, let's see who's a better kisser. Then my chick's taking turns making out with them. Then they're doing a 3-way kiss. Then the people in the club are forming like a semicircle and like taping and shit. And guys are coming up to me like, who are you? Like, are you a celebrity? This or that. And what was I doing? And this isn't even like embellishment. I was going around number closing other chicks because I had like a free moment where I like didn't have to entertain.
You are a beast, sir.
That was in 2015. But like it really like, and it sounds like I'm just like blowing smoke that it's easy, but with a girl, but it really is like not like easy, but you still have to have solid game yourself. But the hot girl generates compliance, eliminates objections.
It's like a cheat code, basically.
Yeah, and like greases the wheels. And all you have to do is handle the logistics and some minor objections. And if you teach your girl like basic objection handling 101, then it's like totally like for the 5-some, one of my friends, which kind of pissed me off, one of my friends was like trying to pull the roommate. So we banged the one chick that was here for the party. And then her roommate was going to get pulled by my friend and he was going to leave with her from the party. And then she's like, our original girl was like, if she leaves, I'm going with her. So my chick like grabbed her and convinced her to stay, but it took like 20 minutes of objection handling. And then the roommate was like, well, if she's staying, then I'm staying. So that's how we turned it to a 5-some, which I'd already framed earlier on in the party. Then my friend was fucking it up with pulling the girl and it almost took both of them. So, but that was cool. And another interesting thing, which none of this is really applicable to anyone, but like we found that like threesome, like kind of like the odd numbers are cool. Like 4-somes aren't that fun. We really liked 3-somes and 5-somes. When it's 4-somes, it's like 2 people pairing off and there's not as much interaction. Whereas with like 5 is like fucking crazy because there's like all these, there's this like
never had a 5-some.
Dude, it was my first 5-some 2 weeks ago, and there was like just tits and ass everywhere, and there's people's hands all over you. You don't know what the fuck's happening. And
dude, you should start a porn channel, like in the life of JMULV. I think that might be the next thing, a Pornhub channel, because this is literally like straight out of a porn movie.
I'm down, and some of the girls are down too. I might do it. I mean, yeah, a lot of people say like making OnlyFans, this or that. Just do live shows. I
had my pornographic debut 6 months ago. It was quite the validating experience.
Does your audience know about it?
I've kind of been teasing them with it, so I've never explicitly linked the video, but I've been kind of hinting at it. So a lot of them have found it. One guy, this cracked me up. One guy made a comment like, in 30 seconds or like in 2 minutes, I was able to see Alex's cock. What a world we live in.
Dude, I want to tell this story just one more quick time. I know we've told it a bunch, but a lot of people.
No. I do not want to tell the LA story. We've told this story way too many times, and it's not even really that cool of a story. That's why it's just fucking. If guys want to really hear the story, they can go back to our old live streams. Like get some motivation. Okay, I mean, dude. So let's quickly recap your, the method and your innovation. So it sounds like this. Correct me if I'm wrong about anything. So first off is, you just get a rotation going, right? And this is where, my content, your content, it's going to help guys.
Remind me, we could either do it now or probably not now to interrupt the flow, but I have to talk about how to lock them on rotation.
Yeah, we'll do that right afterwards. But I just want to sum this up. So, so you set up a rotation 2, and then after that, you use one of the 3 methods you mentioned, which is 1, hitting up existing rotation girls, 2, creating a joint Tinder, or 3, cold approach. And I think if a guy's really struggling with game, probably creating a joint Tinder and hitting up existing rotation girls is going to be easier, because cold approach, I feel like, even though like it's a lot easier if you have a girl, I feel like a lot of guys are just going to be like way too outside their comfort zone.
Well, the thing is, most guys, I mean, I've been around the community a long time. Most guys don't have a rotation. Most guys have no cold approach skills, and most guys.
No, dude, 99% of the guys in the pickup community do not have a rotation.
And they don't have access to hot women, and they also.
I feel like every guy has access to hot women now with online dating. I mean, like
not dating hot women. I mean, I don't mean access like they see them on Tinder.
So what's so kind of, you were kind of hinting at this. So how do you lock in the rotation?
Okay, so this is like hardcore secret sauce type stuff that I only talk about in my mentorship.
Oh shit!
I'll go over the 3. You're like, share more value. I'm like always pitching my mentorship. I like change my name away from John Anthony Lifestyle to PlatinumDatingSystem.com here. Selling out. But no, we do have a really good program. Okay, so the 3 major ways to keep them on rotation is, number 1, you have to set up the next hangout before the first one is over. So what that means is, and yes, I do take them to dinner on the second hangout almost every time. And a lot of guys disagree with that because they say you're being a provider. I think that it showcases, I think like me and Jeff used to be friends back in the day. And I think he told me this in like 2011, 2012. It's like showcasing different sides of your personality. The first date is drinks or coffee. It's low key, casual, lighthearted, fun, etc. I do dinner on the second date. I think it demonstrates that you're willing to like go out in public with them, even though you just banged them the first time. It cements a more like boyfriend girlfriend type shit without going like too overboard.
Just jump in here because I want to touch on this. So I disagree with the argument that you're being a provider. I think that's a bullshit argument. I think that the dinner thing works well for you because you have already like a lot of alpha qualities and a lot of traits, and you have good game, right? I do think though, like I might be wrong on this, that for a lot of guys, not all guys, but a lot of guys already very beta. The dinner thing, like they're just going to come at it. Like I understand you're doing it, because you like actually going out to dinner with girls, right? Like you're not doing it to achieve a goal. You're doing it because like that's kind of what you like to do.
I like to go out for like Italian. So like I just use it as an excuse to go fucking out for Italian. Like I'd like to do it anyways.
I do. Like I had a client quite recently, like for example, he banged a girl on the first date. Second date, he took her out to dinner, and then he got so distracted that he forgot to escalate. And then he never got a third date. So I think for a lot of guys, it can be like, I don't know, like I would say almost like learn better game before you start doing the dinner thing. That would be kind of my take on it.
Yeah. And on a side note, a lot of the fucking like golden rules in the community are full bullshit. Like a lot of them were created by like RC Tyler or other fucking faggots that have no game. So like, don't double text.
Then the rules and your game gets better for sure.
Don't double text. I double and triple text all the time.
That one's bullshit. I double triple text all the time too.
However often I want to. What else? Taking them to dinner. I do that all the time just because I like going out to dinner. Like paying for their Uber is not a big thing.
I do that
too. Guys literally like found out that I paid for a girl's babysitter, and like through one of the like I think it was like years back. Like they're like, oh, if they found out that I paid for a girl's babysitter to come hang out. And they're like, that means his entire lake count of over 1,000 girls is paid hookers because he paid money for a girl's kids to be watched. It's like, go fucking eat a cock.
All right, so let's circle back because we're getting on that.
So by the end of the first hangout, so you banged, I'll be like, hey, what kind of food do you like? Or I'll give them a couple options. I'll say like, my favorites are like Italian, Mexican, or sushi. So I'll say like, hey, do you like Italian or Mexican? Oh yeah, I like Italian. Cool, let's go out for Italian. And then I try to set it 2 days later. So I don't like to do the very next day. I think it's like overkill, like too smothering. So I try to set it. This girl's like staring at me. Entendeu? Nada. There we go. So I like, what was that fucking saying? Oh, yeah, 2 days out. So like, let's say you close on like a Friday. I'll be like, are you free Sunday for dinner? And then if they're not free Sunday, I try to make it as soon as possible, starting with 2 days out. Yeah. So and then I set the exact, not the place, but I set the activity, like Italian dinner, and a time in the day, and then it's done. Like then you don't have to. Like I have so many clients over the years, and I used to do this too. They have the first bang, and then the girl leaves, and then they're like, oh fuck, and they're like having to like start from scratch almost, and then the next day it's like, hey, how's your day? And then they have to hope she replies to that. Then they have to be like, so like blah 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 blah, and then they have to ask her out again. And keep in mind, her whole buying temperature has gone down, like her emotions have changed, et cetera, et cetera. So it's much better to just get it out of the way in person and have it set. And I do the same thing when I'm doing cold approach. I say, do you like whatever my date activity is? Do you like coffee? Do you like margaritas? Do you like wine? Yes. Okay, cool. Let's get margaritas during the week when you're free. Set an exact day and time rather than over text. Hey, it's so-and-so from the club. Who? Yeah, right. So I just set the exact plans in the interaction.
You and I slightly differ in that regards. And I think it's not like one is right or wrong. I think they both work. What I do is I soft close. Like, so if I have a cold approach number, like whenever I meet a girl, I'm like, hey, listen, like we should grab a drink sometime. And she's like, yeah, sure. I'm like, cool, give me your number. And then I'll do that. I mean, that works pretty well for me. I've also done setting hard plans. That works well as well. I think the big thing, honestly, is more of just like whether the guy has good game or not. He's a high value guy.
Yeah. And of course, once they set hard plans, doesn't mean they're going to show up or that it's a contract or anything. But now they're
experiment with making them sign a contract. Like, all right, so I'm gonna need you to sign right here, saying that you're gonna be there at 8:00, ready for sexual intercourse.
But okay, yeah. So yeah, like the important part is like now they're thinking like I'm gonna see this guy again. So number one is to set up the next hangout before the first one's over. Okay, so now that's like done. Like she's just had presumably she just had good sex with you. By the way, check my channel on John Anthony Lifestyle. Sexual positions. People are saying it's like one of my best videos that should be turned into a product. It's for free on my channel. I go through every major sex position and how to hit the G spot in each one, and every other consideration.
What's your favorite sexual position? If you had to pick one,
I really like sideways laying down. She was like staring me down. I really like sideways laying down.
Yeah, that's funny. That's my like top 2, top 3 as well. Yeah, I like that as a lot.
I like to finish in that position. I have a vasectomy, so I usually cream pie every chick.
That's a good one, especially if she has big tits, because then you can kind of like grab her. Yeah.
But for a girl, like 90%, I've done massive data analysis on this. Like for a girl, their favorite position 90% of the time is doggy style with their hair pulled and
okay. I actually don't really do that much doggy because of my fucked up neck.
Whenever I'm texting with girls, I've asked countless girls about this. It's doggy style with their hair pulled and their ass slapped. Like specifically with their hair pulled and their ass slapped.
Yeah. I also found a lot of chicks really like it, like missionary, but you put their legs over your head so you can like just direct their G spot.
Yeah.
We've just basically officially secured that this video gets demonetized in the last 30 seconds.
Dude, 100% of my videos are not monetized.
Yeah, man, that's a shame.
Out of 500.
But anyway, so that was the first method. So what are the 2 other secret sauces?
Okay. All right. So now you've set plans. So now you're going to see her again in 2 days or 3 days. Okay. Now the next thing is I'm just like future projecting that we're going to hang out a lot. So during the sex, yeah, I don't think we've talked about this. So during the sex, she knows that word. Okay. During the sex, like when she's getting really turned on, right? I'll say like, "Oh, do you like that? Do you like that?" And they'll be like, "Yeah." And I'm like, "Do you want it all the time?" That's like the key phrase I say. "Do you want it all the time?" And they're like all turned on. They're like, "Yeah." And I'm like, in Portuguese, I say like, "Todos dias," which means every day. She's like laughing. And they're like, "Yeah," or like. They usually just say like, yeah, but I say it like jokingly. And I'm like, not every day, but most days. And so I'm like, we're going to do this a lot more. And then after the sex.
While you're railing the girl or like afterwards?
Yeah, no, during.
Okay.
Like literally during. Like even when they're, and it's almost like unfair, I think, in a way, because like you're like forming like a Pavlovian association, like unfairly, like when they have like chemical release of like dopamine and oxytocin and stuff. I also like physically escalate in cold approach and on dates, like on like sexual high notes and things like that. Like if I make a sexual joke and she laughs, then I'll be like physical. And then like each time she's like feeling a laugh, she's associating with my physicality. I'm not into NLP or anchoring or any of that shit. I think I just started doing a lot of that by habit because I noticed it worked the best. A lot of my game dialed in just based on induction, based off lots of data.
You do a lot of like possessiveness. Like typically what I'll do, I'll be like, this is my pussy. Whose pussy is this? Oh, yours. This is daddy's pussy. I'm the only one who gets to fuck this pussy.
Yeah.
Whenever
I'll just say like, I'll say like, is that mine now? And they're like, yeah. And I'm like, is this cock yours now? And they're like, yeah.
I'll like literally get her to say, who gets to fuck this pussy? You, baby. Who else? No, just you, baby. Like I'll do a lot of shit like that.
Yeah. Yeah. So I'll be like, yeah, I can. I'll be like, we're gonna do this all the time, right? And they're like, yeah. And I bang the shit out of them. I usually give them their best sex or like close to it. And then, so that's important as well. But then the third big thing is I'm framing that we're going to hang out a lot more because of all the non-physical reasons why I appreciate her. So I'll say like,
okay, that's an interesting point.
I'll say like, oh, I thought you were, this is how I can kind of say it. I say like, I thought you were going to just be like some other normal girl, but you really surprised me. And I really like that you're funny. I really like that you're like pretty cool. I say a lot of generic shit. It's kind of like the same speech each time. I used to say like, you're my perfect type. And they'd be like, what's your perfect type? And I would just describe all these like very specific things about them, which I got from a buddy. It's kind of fucked up, but it's like a custom perfect type. It's like short blonde girls with funny attitude and sass. And so now I'm like, I can tell we're going to hang out a lot more, right? I can tell we're going to hang out but there's a very clear distinction you made. Like I had a student be like, like laying it on too thick. You don't want to act like, oh my God, I think you're the girl of my dreams. Right. So you don't want to come across like choking out, like, oh my God.
Like you never seen a girl that hot before. Yeah.
Yeah. So, what do you think of this new hair, by the way? My chick got me to change my fucking hairstyle. I've had the same hairstyle since high school. Now I'm like parting into the side. I guess I look like less of a scumbag.
You should try to do the skin fade. I like the skin fade a lot.
Yeah, who knows? I'm trying to get it looking like David Beckham or something. I got to get it longer. I need to fix the hairline.
He lives like 5 minutes away from me.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Nice. Okay, so yeah, like, but kind of the overarching thing, like Mystery also used to say, like, if you control the frame, like all the other rules go out the window. I think it's important to like treat her like you guys have been fuck buddies for a long time already.
So you just assume a lot of comfort, basically.
Yeah. So it's not like, oh, this is a stranger, I'm getting to know them. It's like we're just like doing our thing like we normally do. And that's how I act in cold approach too. Like the number one, this is probably like one of the biggest value things I'll say on the whole live. Like the best frame in all of game, whether it be cold approach, on dates, hang out with rotation girls, etc., is to just assume, well, not rotation girls, you just assume you already got them. Like the purpose of the interaction isn't to win the girl over, or to gain points, or to not fuck up, etc. Like guys go on the dates like, oh, I hope she likes me. I hope I can get enough points. I hope I keep the conversation going. I hope I cannot fuck up. I hope I cannot lose too many points.
Right.
I go in like, this is a done deal 100%. And when I go into the club, it's like someone here is getting banged tonight, like maybe multiple people. And most of the best guys I know, that's their mindset. It's never a question of, will I get this particular girl? The real stats don't back that up. I actually only close 10% of the phone numbers I get. I'm at 1290. I have about 13,000 phone numbers in my phone. So it follows about 10%. And I say that openly on my channel, whereas most of the fucking scam coaches will say, like, if your game's good enough, you'll never have flakes. If your game's good enough.
10% is a very realistic number. Mine's probably somewhere around that, maybe even lower. I think mine's more like 8 or 9%.
Yeah, Paul Janka said he confirmed the 10% on our interview. And he said other advanced guys confirm that.
Yeah.
So,
yeah,
you know,
get every girl that you talk to or whatever is pure pickup marketing nonsense. Okay, so let's kind of get back into this. So the secret sauce is, 1 is that you set up the date during the bang. 2 is that you do a lot of future projection. What's the third one?
Well, that was like the second and third are both future projecting, but like the second one is during sex, and the third one is non-physical things after sex.
Uh-huh.
But I like it's like a lot of like anti one night stand framing. Because
do you cuddle a lot?
Cuddle?
Yeah.
Yeah, I'll lay with them after sex, like fucking play with their nipples.
That's pretty big right there. Like if you like fuck a girl and then like right afterwards she leaves, that's gonna be much lower odd than if you guys like an hour and cuddle and shit. That's
like bringing in the concept of buyer's remorse. It's like the old school concept of buyer's remorse is that the girl bangs you and then later feels slutty about it because she banged you before enough comfort was established, and therefore she feels like she might be a slut to you or to herself or to her friends or anyone that knows. And Mystery, his solution was that you should take 4 to 10 hours before you sleep with a girl, called the 7-hour rule.
Yeah, that's way too fucking long. I think most chicks would get bored by hour 3. But I think generally speaking, this is what I found to be true. The more time you spend with a girl, within reason, not 4 to 10 hours, but the more time you spend with the girl after the bang, the better. Like if she leaves 5 minutes after the bang, the odds on seeing her again are pretty low. But if you hang out with her for like 2 hours after sex, or if she sleeps over, like the odds of seeing her again are going to be very high. So that's just one thing I found to be true. So typically, if I bang a chick and I want to see her again, like I'll try to like, I'll be like, even if because she'll kind of look to you for guys like, okay, does this guy want me to leave now? So I'll just get in bed. I'm like, come here, you. Let's cuddle a little bit. So do shit like that. And I find that's like, pretty, like I would say my retention is pretty solid as well. I don't think it's 90%, but it's pretty decent. Typically what I've noticed, I would say the 2 biggest mistakes guys make when it comes to retention are this. One, they get needy. So they like just get super needy. They'll start blowing up the chick's phone, and like the chick might genuinely like them, but then they just fucking display all this low value behavior because I think there's nothing more low value than neediness, and the chick gets turned off. So that's one mistake I've seen. And the second mistake I've seen, this is extremely common, is that they try to like keep gaming the girl after the sex.
Keep dating?
Keep gaming the girl after sex.
Oh, gaming.
They beg the girl, and they treat it still like they still have to win her over. Instead of like, I put as much thought into my rotation girls and texting them as I do put into texting my friends, like with just more sexual with them. But like, I don't like try to come up with witty texts.
Yeah.
Girls. If you look at our interactions, they're not that exciting with my rotation girls. It's just literally like, hey, what are you up to tonight? Cool. Yeah, I'm doing some work. You want to come by later?
Yeah, texting should be almost pure logistics usually.
Yeah, like I'll crack joke. It's the same exact way like I will be with my friends. Like there'll be some jokes and shit, and like we fuck around, talk about mutual interest and shit. But I'm not trying to game them. Basically, like that's what I think are 2 big points. Do you have anything to add on this before we jump into questions?
Yeah. What I was going to say with that 4 to 10 hour thing, the 7-hour rule, is that it was a good attempt of his assessment. He was trying to blanket like a set of time, like it's a quantitative amount of time needed for the comfort. But on the contrary, it's really a college professor here. A qualitative amount of comfort. And there's a bunch of like tricks you can do. I wrote a famous post in 2012. I'm getting fucking old now. I just turned 37, but girls still guess sometimes that I'm 29 or 30.
Send me the post and we'll link it in the description.
RST Nation's down, but yeah, I saved all my my old posts. But what was the fucking title?
We should put it up as a guest post on PWF.
Okay, yeah, we can do that. It's about like defeating anti-slut defense and last minute resistance. So I'll have to fix some parts up because I don't like talking about last minute resistance ever on publicly because then feminists come in and call it attempted sexual assault.
Yeah,
but yeah, so basically the whole this chick's like going to sleep now. The whole I had this notion of importing comfort on credit. So it's like I would say stuff like, oh, I feel like I've known you for a long time. I feel a really good connection with you. Oh, why? I don't know. I can't explain it. I just feel it. So you can like assert like vacuous claims. I'm a philosophy major, philosophy and computer science undergrad, and like I'm very like tight usually with like deductive reasoning. But like with girls, not that they're stupid, it's just their brains are built differently. So you can like make vacuous claims that just like feel nice, and they'll just like lock into the feeling.
So let's be very clear here. Neither PWF or John Anthony Lifestyle is saying that women are intellectually inferior to men. We're saying that women's brains work differently, which is just a fact.
Yeah. From an anatomical standpoint, I read a lot of neuroscience books.
Where we get nuked off YouTube.
Women have 10 times more white matter, which is responsible for interneuronal connections in verbal and emotional tasks, whereas men have 4 times as much gray matter on average, which is responsible for local processing and like, math, logic, philosophy. And that directly correlates to our roles in tribal times where men were hunting and doing stuff with technology, and women were sitting around getting their breasts sucked and gossiping. No, but there was a difference in roles there. I was trying to be funny. It's like a look of panic on your face. The next Bradicus.
No, I mean, that's why most chicks are way more social, like more socially capable than guys. Like, like even the most like socially awkward chicks are typically better than like, the average social guy. Like their chicks are just way more socially tuned. They can pick up on social stuff way more, which is why a lot of women, for example, work in media and communication, right? And men are typically better at analytical stuff, which is why you have a lot of men in the STEM fields. Of course, there's many options to this.
So so the point is just to like when you express that like you appreciate all these things about her that are non-sexual, and you express that you want to like take her out again in public, and you're just like generally cool and like laid back and chill with her, then you go and have the dinner date. Well, it's pretty much locked in right from there. But then you go and have the dinner date. You go back and watch a movie or something, bang her again, and like it's like done. Like she's like on board now, and plus there's like so much else. Those are like official tactics, but there's so much else that goes into it. Like from the very beginning, like all my body language and the way that I'm like micro calibrating to how she does things is all like screaming like high value, and I'm presenting myself like the Christian Grey, like the most full package thing she could ever find. So I get traveled over 30 countries, like speaks multiple languages, 4 degrees in college, like used to work on nuclear missiles, like has a penthouse in a nice area.
Just to quickly clarify this, I think it's very important to do that in a non-try-hard way. So I think it's important to be subtle and like kind of nuanced with it. Like if you're just like bragging, that's gonna completely opposite effect.
Demonstrations of higher value are always like dropped as like
subtle
seeds. They're never the focus of the story. If it comes across as bragging or looking for the fact that doesn't work. But the whole way through, she's like, oh, so he's like a cool DJ, and now I'm like in good shape as well, and I'm like 6'4". It's like I tell my clients this all the time. You want the girl to be like, wow, like is this real life? Like, am I this lucky to have a guy like you? You want her to like see you as like her best possible option. So like they'll choose me over like the classic like meathead covered in tattoos, whatever.
Let me ask you this real quick. Do you find that sometimes because you're portraying yourself as so high value that you're almost like for chicks who have low self-esteem, you're like they feel like they don't deserve you, and for that reason it doesn't work out? Have you ever had that happen?
Yeah, but it's not that it doesn't work out. I just like abuse it. So like you can just like get away with anything when they're in that position.
But you don't find that like some chicks like they're like, oh my God, this guy's too good. He's probably gonna reject me, so I better like ghost him or something like that.
Like there was a chick here tonight that was like, I told her like in Brazil, like the days are resuming counting on Tuesday. Like they've been frozen since mid-March because of Corona. That's how I've been able to stay past the 6 months, and they're resuming counting. So I need to either buy a property for $1 million of their currency or more, or start a company here with 500,000 in the bank account, or marry someone. And she's like, marry me. And I blow her off all the time. I treat her like shit, cancel all the time, like all this stuff. But she's like in love and shit. And she's like, just marry me. I don't want you to leave, like all this stuff. And so I might do that.
That's pretty fine. Like, what do you mean when you treat her like shit? Like, I've never really seen you treat a girl badly. So what do you mean by that? You just don't make
Yeah. It's better to clarify. More just like when she's here, I'm like mostly ignoring her, like texting other girls or doing other shit. Like I cancel a lot. I like will late night booty call. I'll like kick her out all the time.
Why do you think you do that? Like, are you just not that interested in her, or like what's the?
There's no like deeper connection. Like some of the rotation girls, it's like just purely sex, and that's so with her, it's like just purely sex. Like she wants to go out, do all these things, and I'm like, I don't want to do any of that shit. To kind of like wrap up that point. There's key things, a lot of like anti one night stand framing and these things that you can do to lock them in pretty quickly. I used to say like it was the magic like 3 bangs rule, like see them 3 times, and you want to see them in rapid succession. I
agree with that rule very much. I found that to be almost true as well. 3 bangs, like after 3 bangs, it's like very solid.
But the caveat, if you can do like a longer hangout, then it counts as like 2 or sometimes even 3. Like say you do, if you can never get the girl to sleep over, try to do that. Like say we have the coffee.
I fucking hate sleepovers, but yeah, they're definitely really good for locking shit in. Like if you have the chick sleep over, it's pretty much set. Yeah.
So if you have the drink or coffee day, you bang the girl, you frame the dinner date, and then I'll say like, yeah, I know we just met each other. I'm always like anti-framing against anything that looks like too needy or too much too soon. So I know we just met each other, but like we're having fun. Like you seem cool. Why don't you just sleep here? Oh, well, I have to be up early. Okay, well, we'll just call you like an Uber in the morning and you can go. Like I'll make you breakfast. I usually make, like now I'm doing 6 eggs and 6 whole grain bread every morning. And so I'll be like, yeah, I'll make you, and the girl will have like 1 egg. I'll be like, okay, I'll make you eggs in the morning, like whatever. And then you put on a movie or whatever, you bang them again, you bang them in the morning. And now it's like the whole idea of like, you're spending a lot more time with each other than you are, because now you're like waking up together. Now you're having breakfast together. There's like it's like daylight, et cetera, et cetera. And if you can get an even longer marathon in, like it's even more of a lock. Like if you can say you have an afternoon date with a girl on a weekend and you guys do the drinks or coffee, you bang, then it's like dinner time. And you're like, hey, do you want to like go out to dinner or order food? Do that. And then put on a movie and then have a sleepover. Then they're like super locked in just from a marathon hangout. And you're like banging them all day long. So
the caveat is you can't get needy. So as long as you're doing all that, everything you mentioned is good. As long as you're not doing it in a needy way, that would be I think the important thing. But yeah, man, let's jump into some questions because we got a lot building up, and then we can kind of circle back near the end. So do either of you have a sales funnel or series of texts you send the girl to agree dates efficiently? The way you don't have to spend much time getting to know the girl over the app or phone. Do we ever? Yeah, you mean John definitely has quite a few of those. Do you want to quickly touch on that?
Sorry, I was looking. I've never seen this dude paid $5 to say I'm the fucking GOAT. That's awesome. I didn't know people. Is this like a super chat or something?
Yeah, you can. It's just a feature you can enable where people can make donations. I mean,
yeah, I've never done that. Okay, do either of you have a sales funnel or series of texts to send a girl to agree to dates efficiently? Yeah, my whole product, the leads machine, sexleadmachine.com, is devoted to that. I don't do very much customized texting. I have all my clients use my texting flowcharts.
This is one area where I think you and I differ a little bit, but I do also have a lot of standard text that I use. But yeah, I mean, it's also good to have.
My texting is very cookie cutter. It works very well though. Like it's optimized. I built those charts around the time I had 10,000 phone numbers in my phone, around the time I had 1,000 girls, and I've had 200 lay count clients come on, plug into those texting scripts, and they 4x their meetup rate, even though they were getting a lot of
these scripts are in your product, right? So guys can find that there.
Yep, and the mentorship at ultimateseductionsystem.com or the sexleadmachine.com. But yeah, I'm a big fan of like. If then, like most of my texting is just compliance ladders. So my first text that has a high chance they'll reply, and if they reply to that, then it sets up the next text, and everything is just a grease slide towards giving their phone number. And then once they have their phone number, it's a grease slide towards the meetup. And I have what to do in every control path with optimal odds. I think and my clients try to deviate from the script and like customize stuff or like throw in some extra shit, and then it breaks the effectiveness.
Yeah, I mean, I think that can work if you understand the underlying concepts. Unfortunately, most guys don't. Like, I've seen guys take my texts and butcher them and use them in like the completely wrong context. Like, yeah, I mean, I can get into examples, but anyway. Hey, Alex, do you think career choice has an impact on women and dating? I'm asking because I'm in college and I feel being a male teacher isn't a career that attracts women. Your thoughts? I do think that career choice definitely has an impact, and not so even more indirectly because your career choice affects how much free time you have. Like, for example, like if you're like me and John, you have like your own business, right? You can make time. Like, for example, if there's a hot chick that wants to hang out with us at 3 p.m., like we can make that happen if we want to, versus a lot of guys that are stuck in a fixed schedule. Like, we don't have to be up early if we don't want to be. So I think that, having the best kind of career for pickup is where you have your own business, whatever it is, so you can dictate your own schedule. But yeah, it definitely does. I mean, if you're super fucking passionate about being a male teacher, then do it. But I don't know. That's probably not the career I would pick personally. What are your thoughts?
See, like everyone calls me like the dark side of pickup or whatever. I think you could tell a woman your career is anything. But I tell guys, like this is a question on my mentorship call tonight. they said like, what if my career is boring? You just have to frame it in societally high value terms.
Yeah, that's true. You can make any career like more or less exciting.
So if you're a computer programmer, you wouldn't say like, oh, hey, I program computers, because that's probably going to look low value. It's going to look, because society says like, oh, nerd, like loser, even though it's not really a loser. Society looks at it that way. So you would have to say like, oh, I lead like a big tech team, or just any kind of blanket thing about owning a company.
We're developing a new app right now. It's going to be awesome. Yeah, sure.
Yeah. Like anything that sounds cool, like Mystery. I read I listened to his audiobook of the Mystery Method, How to Get Beautiful Women into Bed. I listened to it like 50 times back in the day, like to and from work and all day at work and shit. And a lot, I like have almost the whole book memorized. And so that's why I always like recall examples. But he said, like when you're like first introducing yourself and you want to like cement an identity, like imports a bunch of things about yourself. If you were to say like, hi, I'm Joe, I'm an accountant, it's like value neutral or probably value negative. Whereas if you say like, hi, I'm Bender, I'm in a rock band, which is kind of a corny example, but that cements, it imports a whole bunch of social proof and a bunch of shit about yourself that works in your favor. So like, I actually was a DJ. This is like a misconception that people think that it's like full fabricated. I actually was a DJ and used to play like decent sized events. Like I played like a 5,000 person event in an indoor sports arena. But I have like a Photoshop picture of playing Tomorrowland, which I use just to, any girl likes electronic music, makes it a lock. But the point is that I say I'm a DJ as like the second thing after I introduce myself in every cold approach. And I say it in my Tinder profile, and I say it like, in person once we're on a date. Because what does that say? It very quickly imports in the first 5-10 seconds that I have access to a lot of women, that I know a lot of people, that I have a life that's very fun, probably more fun than hers, et cetera, et cetera. It's like a cool mental model, right? So she doesn't know who the fuck you are or what your value is up front. So I say that stuff to import a whole bunch of shit. And I also do a lot of short interactions, but it does wonders for first impressions and making a mark.
Dude, so I was telling girls you're a sex and dating coach. I've done that for about a year now, and it works extremely well. It gives you like a pass to go very sexual very fast, because girls will be like, really? Is that really what you do? I'll be like, yeah. They should be like, oh, wow, I could really use your services then. Or I know someone who could really use your services. I'm like, why? Are you struggling in the bedroom? She's like, no, but blah, 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 blah. And then they just feel like because you're an authority, they can open up really fast. I found that to be like extremely effective.
Who started that? David Swift?
I think so. Him or Nitin, I don't remember.
I remember he had like business cards made up.
Yeah, I mean, you don't have to do any of that. But it's funny because now a lot of guys are saying they're sex and dating coach, but like they, they're very inexperienced. So like, it's just like so incongruent. So I do think you need at least some level of game to be able to pull that off. Like,
yeah. I saw some loser. It might have been a year before. Like some loser kid was like, hey, I told the girl I'm a pickup artist coach when he's not. And the girl was like all weirded out or whatever. And he's like, what do I do?
Yeah, I never use the word pickup artist. That's a word you want to delete from your vocabulary. The association with pickup artist is very negative. So I will never, ever say I'm a pickup artist.
Yeah. What's the mental model? It's basically like it's basically like the image of mystery, but also like a rapist or something.
Yeah. I mean, first of all, I don't even really consider myself a pickup artist, but yeah, that's, what chicks be like, oh, you're like a pickup artist? I'll be like, no, I am not like a pickup artist. I'll just say with a dead face like that.
The real Bob Saget.
Yeah. All right. Let's jump to the next question. It's actually a really easy one. Is SUV the best car for sex, and is it easy to get laid in the car? Yes, SUV is the best car for sex. And honestly, I've had quite a lot of car sex in my life. I don't really like it. It's not comfortable. It's not that enjoyable. It's like my last resort. I would honestly rather either, if I can't bring her back to my place, just get a motel or something. Because car sex is just like, I don't know. At least
I don't like car sex.
I met
a client that was
guy likes car sex.
I met a client that said that he watched some video from some dating coach on how to like bang at a club, like in a stairwell or whatever. And he's like, yeah, I've done that 9 times. And I was like, cool. Like, and what's your lay count? And he's like 9. And I was like, have you ever had sex in a bed? And he was like, no. I was like, oh my God.
You should give that a shot, man. It's a doozy. Yeah, I like to have sex in the bed. Like club shit and whatever. It's not enjoyable, at least for me. Okay. Jump to this question. What do you think is the prime years a guy has for game, like as an best age to do game? I get this question quite a lot, actually. What's your take on this one?
I don't think there's any age where it's off limits. I think I'm going to, like, if I stick with this shit, I think I'll still be crushing. There's just adaptations to be made. If I'm in my 50s and 60s, I'm not going to be going into like hangouts of 18-year-olds, but even if I did, I would still slaughter it. Like, I think game can help you crush at any level. I have lots of clients that have been in their 40s, 50s, 60s, and I get them pulling 19-year-olds, 20-year-olds on my programs. Most of the age thing is in guys' heads.
Yeah,
is what I found. Like, and most any hang up that a guy has in game is in their head. I've had lots of clients over the years. It's, oh, my hairline's receding, so every girl's staring at my hairline. No, they don't care. Like, oh, I'm this, or I'm ethnic, or I'm too short, so every girl. And what it is I have this hang up about myself, so therefore I'm going to let it handicap me in every interaction. And then when it goes bad, I'm going to like attribute it back to my hang up.
I think you and I 100% agree on that component. Like it's like, I think a lot of there's two extremes in the pickup community where a sexual market value doesn't matter at all. It's all game, and that, you know, the red pill community where it's all sexual market value, right? Like the truth lies somewhere in the middle. Like you should heavily focus on optimizing everything about you. Like neither you or I, like, you know, look like slobs or like, you know, get fat and shit like that, right? Like we're not going to pull an RSD Tyler, but the same thing. Like it's not like there's a lot of guys who are way better looking than me.
You just gave me an idea. I want to do like a fat dating coach roast. Just like put all the fatties into one video.
You should bring back the RSD roast series. I was watching the Julian one recently, and
it's good, right, dude? Me and Stevie like memorized. Yeah, for those of you that remember RSD Julian, I did like a full parody of the Julian Blanc CNN interview, and Sonny Arvado was playing Chris Cuomo, and we did it line by line. Like we literally were like memorizing the lines like an actor would, and then like doing takes until we nailed it, and then we just like cut between each take. But it came out really, really well. Like
that was hilarious. That might be my favorite videos on your channel, honestly. Like I've watched that one like 3 or 4 times, to be honest. Like I don't know if I told you that, but that
whole with the border of like Tyler doing the like fake sucking a dick, where it was like going around the border and he was like spitting out what looked like cum and like saying,
that was kind of bizarre.
It like crashed my computer.
Bizarre business decision on his part, I guess. I don't know.
It like crashed my computer during rendering.
So to get back to the question, what do you think the prime years guy has for game? Honestly, like, I don't know. I didn't get into game until like I've had guys make posts like, "Hey, I'm 25 and I just learned about game. This is too late for me." I'm like, "Fuck no, dude!" Like,
I didn't hit 100 till I was 29.
I mean, the earlier you can start, the better. But you know, like with anything in life, I don't think it's ever too late. Like you can, I know guys who are 40s and who are just getting into game. So, you know, the prime years are, you know, whatever you are now. I don't think it really, you know, matters. It also makes a difference to kind of just like, I mean, nowadays you can literally like biologically stay young with like TRT and human growth hormone and like all the, you know, you've talked a lot about this with all the developments in science and nutrition. You know, you can, you know, as a 50-year-old, you can, you know, be like a 30-year-old in terms of, you know, your biological age. So
there's just adjustments to be made. Like everyone tries to like blame their city or their logistics or whatever. Even coronavirus
do matter, but they're not deal breakers. The vast majority.
You just have to adapt. Like with coronavirus, like there's very specific tweaks I made in my game, and a lot of guys are doing better than non-pandemic times. But there still exists that category of people that are just naive and they say, like, I can't get any girls right now because it's the pandemic. That's bullshit.
Yeah, I agree with that. Let's jump to this question. How do you keep it sexual when the vibe is friendly? So I know you've talked about this a lot in your other videos. How to keep it sexual? Well, first of all, I don't let the vibe get friendly in the first place. So I think it's easier to prevent a problem than to fix a problem. So I always like, you know, have like a strong man to woman vibe. Nowadays, I don't necessarily just go super direct, like, hey, you're cute, I want to meet you. Like, even though I do that from time to time, I go a little bit more indirect. But then, you know, just kind of in the sub-communication, the eye contact, the body language, kind of just like the smirk I have on my face, that, you know, the vibe stays sexual, you know, from the beginning.
My strategy is just to like come out guns blazing from the beginning and guns blaze the whole way through. So I'm like ultra sexual the whole way until they tell me to like back off a little bit.
Standard opener cold approach nowadays.
In cold approach?
Yeah.
It's been the same like for like 8 years. I just say, hi, can I meet you real quick? Or hey, I wanted to meet you real quick.
Yeah, that's a good opener. It's short, succinct, and then the key part of it is real quick, right? So the girl doesn't feel like, even if she doesn't like you, it's not going to be a long interaction, like a false time exchange, which is actually like a kind of like a pickup-y type of thing, but it's very effective. Like if I'm trying to get a girl on the phone, like I think the biggest thing is like, hey, I just got off a meeting. Let's chat on the phone for a minute or two, and that like just throwing that in there is like key, I think.
Yeah. I don't. The opener doesn't fucking matter as long as it's not bad, which 95% of them are. Like I review in one of my products all the standard openers, and it's all crap. Like if you're saying stuff, like here's an example: Todd V advocates cold reading, where you walk up and say, "Hey, it looks like you're from Wisconsin," or like you look like a Capricorn, and the girl's like, "You look like a fucking retard," right? or there's I don't know, like most of the openers are just pure trash. So I think it's fine to just say, hey, I wanted to meet you, or hey, another opener I do that's pretty common is like based on something with her appearance. Like if I'm at the gym or like someplace like that, I don't want to be too direct because I'm in something. So I'll say like, hey, I like your tattoo. Yeah. Where did you get that tattoo? Or like, hey, I like the way that you did your hair. I like this on your shirt. Like I comment about something on their appearance. I like how tall you are. How tall are you? And then I just riff from there.
I mean, I think that 99% of the pickup community is way too gamey. So like that's the mistake a lot of guys are making, and you've kind of talked about this quite a lot in the past. Yes. Yeah. Guys are way too gamey.
Anything gamey or fancy needs to be like removed because
everything should be simplified and kind of taken back to its root. The
gamey and fancy stuff is like was heavily pushed by RSD and all that. Like makes you sound like a fucking weirdo and makes the girls not like you.
I think the litmus test that I use a lot is I'll just straight up like, girls who are in my rotation, I'll ask them about, like, hey, what do you think about this? And like quite often, like, if it's something gamey, the girl will be like, no, that's weird. Like I would find that weird, right? And I think this is the litmus test that is very rarely used because people just think, well, it sounds good, so I'm just going to do it. But they don't like look at it from a girl's perspective. And I think one of the biggest things is just not to be weird when you're coaching, not be the weird guy.
Like when RST used to let out their free tours, like I remember in San Diego, like I had that hot girl that was doing the threesomes with me in San Diego in 2015. They came up to her because I was like approaching clients, or I was approaching guys like asked them to be clients. Like, hey, do you want to actually get laid? And this one guy came up to my chick and he's like, hey, I see you looking at your socks. Do you like looking at your socks? Do you like socks? And I walk up, I was like, hey bro, are you RSD? And he's like, whoa. Like, it's like supposed to be an underground cult.
He just comes in.
He's like, what's RSD? I'm like, it's cool. Like I used to work for them. Like, I'm part of the community too. He's like, no, I don't know what you're talking about. I'm like, dude, I heard of that dumb shit you just said. Of course you are. And he's like, okay, yeah. So, and you can spot guys like trying to be like overly physical and stuff. Like I'll see, like I was in London last year teaching a program and I saw a guy do like the spin or whatever. And then the girl was like weirded out and went to leave. And he's like overly like grabbing on. And I walk up and I'm like, RSD. And he's like, oh, he's like, what? He's like, how did you know, or whatever? And I'm like, here, if you want to like to learn some real game advice, like follow this channel. And they're like, hey, JMULV. I was like, oh, so you guys know me. But yeah. Okay, next question.
I feel like we should at some point do a video where you literally we'll research this beforehand. We'll break down all the the golden rules in the pickup community, and we'll evaluate which ones are real and which ones are bullshit and which ones are somewhere in the middle. I think that would be a good video for a lot of guys. Okay. All right, so this question is specific to you, JMULV. Has there been any particular number you reached in your late count where you really saw huge improvements, as in big chance in your game after banging 100 girls, for instance?
Yes. There's no way to like show images here, right? We can share the screen.
Yeah, as long as it's nothing that's gonna get the video taken down.
Let me show my progression, and I'll kind of talk to this graph for a second here. Nothing that's gonna get the video. No, it won't be anything bad. I'm just gonna show your balls. Let's see. Okay, share screen.
Did you hear about the Chris Evans dick pic leak? Like he uploaded a whatever, like a screenshot or whatever, and then it's just like his dick was as one of the screenshots.
Can you see this?
I'll add it. Hang on, we got to add it to the screen. There we go.
Okay, is it like legible? Because I only see the graph.
Yeah, we can see it just fine.
Okay, so it took me like 10 years to hit the first 100, and then, but granted, I wasn't like doing formal game yet, and I had some relationships in here, but then it started being about 100 a year until this was kind of the big tweak here was doing dates straight to the house and getting that dialed in with answering objections straight to the house. And the best year was 246. This isn't updated in the past year, but the current count as of like an hour ago is
an hour ago. It's updated that regularly. That's
how I was late for the stream. 1,290.
Update your graph before you could jump on the live stream.
I was updating this young lady. 10 years. So yeah, after 100, it kind of took off. But this is kind of like where like the game bug like set in, where I just started like hitting RSD Nation a lot on the forums. Like a lot of my posts were the top ranked ones on the forums. And I started really systematizing everything. And this is kind of where I developed my method as well. But I do have a blog that only like 2 or 3 people know about that chronicles my progression from like 100 to 150, which was really when I was going from like intermediate to advanced. And it's like how I overcame a lot of the common sticking points.
Dude, this should be public as well, if you don't mind. We should link that in the description as well. I think a lot of guys would enjoy reading that.
Yeah. Oh, the blog?
Yeah.
Yeah. Here, you can remove that one thing off the stream so we're big again.
Yeah, we're good. Is it? Oh, okay. I see what you're saying. Is it a good strategy to send nudes if the girl asks for them, states she doesn't want to meet up? Ask for them. Well, if a girl's telling you that she doesn't want to meet up, you have to get to the underlying concern or objection of why. Is she a time waster or does she have some unanswered concern? But if a girl asks me for nudes, I will send her, I'll say something like, say please, right? And she'll say, please, daddy, and then I'll send her, a dick pic. I think, you and I are the same in that regards.
Yep. I'm very anti sexting before the meet. I think it can blow the girl out in a lot of cases. But my whole strat, I think we differ there because not
anymore, dude. I've done a little bit of a 180 on that. So if you look at my text game from the last year or two, like there's almost no sexting, honestly.
The problem, I know you used to do that a lot. I know you used to do that a lot. My big issue with it, and it's like supported by a lot of data, is that you give her like an out to fix the slut shaming before she commits the action. So like she's prematurely slut shamed, and it's just easy for her to flake or ghost and like save her image.
Yeah, I mean, also the vast majority of guys can't sex, so they don't write in a way that's attractive to a girl. It's like, I'm gonna stick my balls in your face or something like that. Like something that doesn't really sound that good to a female.
I see threads in your forum where it's like 20 pages of screenshots of sexting, and I'll come in and I'll be like, this is dumb. And guys are like, what do you mean?
Yeah, I mean, I've definitely done a 180 on that in the last, I think probably more like in the last 2 years. I
think that's correct because like you came up with the whole idea of like explicitly DTF. We should do more lives because we're like 2 of the only people that know what the fuck we're talking about. You have like explicitly DTF and there's like explicitly not DTF. And when you do sexual stuff, you screen out the ones that are not DTF explicitly, and then
explicitly, implicitly, relationship, and time waster.
Yeah, but the thing is that when you sex, you're gonna get the girls that would have banged you already anyways to go along with it, and then all the ones that are in the middle ground that aren't explicitly DTF that would have banged you had you ran the date well are now gonna like ghost.
I think there are some, and they're not often, but there are some situations where sexting can be clutch. And this is when you get an explicitly DTF girl who lives like far away, right?
Yeah.
And she's
I use it when it's like, say it's like a 7.5 or low 7 or whatever. It could take it or leave it. And then I don't want to meet up with her unless she's going to come straight to the house and bang.
Well, for me, the girl's attractiveness is not the role. It's more of like I try to identify what category she falls into. And if she's explicitly DTF, but I sense, for example, like she lives far away or she's busy or she's only here for, a few days and like, it's just kind of wishy-washy and I really want to lock it in. But I think you have to be able to accurately gauge girls and identify. I mean, I have a video on this channel how to, but you can sexualize without sexting. Like I will try to, use a lot of innuendos, and I think you do that as well. Like a lot of like.
Yeah. So I agree though. I only use sexting in like those borderline situations where it's like if they're not done, I'm not going to meet up because you don't have time to like properly game when they're just in town for a day.
Yeah, I like to like have plausible deniability. So if a girl says, "Well, you just want to have sex," I want to be able to say, "When exactly did I say that?" I think that's like my litmus test for whether I should go more or less sexual. And that one is clutch, dude. Like if a girl says, "Oh, you just wanted me to come over for sex," and if you can say, "When exactly did I say that?" and she can't point to something, that's like very effective at getting her to be like, "Well, you never did," and question her assumption. Well, that's a whole thing we can get into. How to deal. Go ahead.
I was gonna say one other thing. Like my old business partner that I started my company with, he texted like 200 Tinder matches or maybe 100. I think 200 DTF question mark, and I think like 5% responded well. And in Ukraine, when I was going to reset my Tinder, right before I typed, "You look like you have a good pussy to eat out."
Oh yeah, that was good. And you said you had a few girls who were down, right?
It was like 5% as well, but that locked in like a really, really good one. It was a pole dance instructor.
But the downside with that is you had your Tinder banned, right? Like shit like that. Yeah.
Well, this was like 2 years ago, and this was when they were 2 years, 2017 maybe. And this was when they would give you warnings. So there was like 3 warnings, but the warnings were coming in.
That system is long gone. Yeah, Tinder and all dating apps have just got way more SJW. Like you used to be able to get away with a lot more. I remember
it's like one strike policy now.
Yeah, dude. I remember 3-4 years ago, I used to run like a very sexual bio, like a 50 Shades of Grey bio, and like chicks would be like, "Oh my god, your bio is so hot." And like, dude, if you do that now, you will get like fucking nuked in a minute. Okay, so let's take this question: how to deal when the girl agrees to soft close, but when
are there any? This is one dude's asked like 3 questions. Is there any other people too? Well, we can answer his.
Yeah, let's answer this one quick. When the girl agrees, when going for the date time, she says her schedule is unpredictable. Yeah, I mean, I would probably, it depends on the context, but I would probably push it a little bit more. I would say, solution question mark or something like that. I don't really give up that fast. What's your take on this?
I always try to, every part of my game, I try to lower compliance thresholds. So I say, what's a day we can tentatively plan for?
Okay. Gotcha.
Tentatively, like so that way they're not like having to commit. But I also try to find out more information about her schedule. What time do you normally get off? What time do you normally start, etc. And then what time do you normally go to bed? Okay, can you see me for an hour after this? And then when she's there, you convince her to stay. One
area where I think you and I differ is I don't think correct me if I'm wrong, you don't do that many takeaways, right? Like a big part of my game is like takeaways and stuff like that.
What's like a major takeaway you do?
Like if you're too nervous, I understand, or like stuff like that.
I don't do that.
Yeah.
I just judge everything through like compliance and non-compliance. So it's like I always assume compliance, and if there's non-compliance, I just deal with it.
I think that's a good way of looking at it. Like I definitely agree with that mindset. Sup, Alex and John, just tuning in. I have a roommate that moved in today to my 2-bedroom, 2-bath. What's the best way I can leverage having a roommate to still close date? Well, you're not going to leverage having a roommate. It's not like a plus, but it shouldn't hinder you anyway. Like I have a roommate. I've had a roommate for years. I live in a 2-bedroom.
I disagree with that. I think it hinders the girl. So? Yeah, it's happened to me personally. I haven't had a roommate since like 2014, but like it used to happen a bunch, and it's happened to a lot of my clients. The girl doesn't want to be slut shamed by your roommate seeing her isolate to your bedroom.
How do you like? Can you give an example of how it's like hindered you?
It's like say like you guys. It's like you and your chick. Say you like bring a girl back home after the date, and your roommate's in the common area, and then she meets your roommate. Like a lot of them like don't want to look like a slut to the roommate and go into the bedroom.
Well, I feel like this could be avoided with good communication. Like if you're pulling, you tell your roommate to like this is what I always do. Like
yeah. I tell guys like don't let your roommate come out and talk to them, or like don't say that he's home, because if they know that someone's there that can judge them, then that's gonna fuck up. It's gonna lower the odds.
Yeah, I think this can be heavily mitigated with just like good communication with your roommate. Like you don't want your roommate like before you bang the chick chatting for like 20 minutes because it's gonna kill the sexual tension. And yeah. Someone said, lock your roommate in his room. All right.
Can we say what your one roommate did?
The guy that pulled the gun on me, or which guy?
Yeah, that guy.
Oh yeah, I've told that story many times. Yeah, I mean, you should be careful with who you live in.
I got to meet that guy.
Yeah. Meth head living with me who pulled a gun on me one day. That was fairly unpleasant, I would say. Anyways,
speaking of close calls of violence, now they're talking about Colombia. You had a knife pulled.
I know. Yeah.
Me and Alex were in. When was that? We were in Bogota together, and
it was like 3 years ago. But the knife thing, I didn't feel like was a close call. Like I didn't feel like my life was in danger. Versus the gun thing, I very much.
It was a machete. You said it was a machete.
It was like a machete, but I feel like those guys, like I never felt like like oh shit, I'm about to die. Versus when the gun was pulled on me, like I literally felt like I was about to die. Like if I say one wrong word, like I'm gonna get shot in the head, and then PWF is not gonna exist. Who are guys gonna learn an online game from? Yeah, so
Epicurus says, "Death does not concern me, for when I am, death is not, and when death is, I am not."
All right. So is it a good city for online game? Is it safe? So me and you might disagree on this, but I do think it's a great city for online game. Is it safe?
Definitely not. 100% not.
I would say in Medellin, if you stay in Park Lieres or whatever, and you don't do dumb shit, you don't engage in drugs or prostitutes or anything sketchy, I think, and you use common sense and you're careful and you're not like gullible, I think it can be quite safe. Yeah, you and I disagree on that. Do you find
like the third day, me and Sonny were there. He had a Tinder date. There was a public date. The girl was like small and unassuming, no red flags. They bought a bottle of vodka on the way home. She made him one drink, knocked him out for 5 hours, took all his electronics. He woke up puking blood.
With Colombia, you can never let a girl make you a drink. That right there was a little bit of a fuck up on his end. Like, I will never let Colombia, like a girl, be like, I always want to see the drink. Like me and Blake, we had 2 chicks in Cartagena who tried to roofie us. But we like, yeah. I don't know if I told you the story. It was pretty.
Dude, I would never go back to Colombia. You remember what happened at the very end?
Yeah, how can I forget? But so then,
Blake
me, yeah, we can tell. Let me tell this real quick. So Blake texts me and he's like, "Yo, dude, I saw her put something in a drink." So I'm like, "Okay." So I take the drink. I'm like, "Hey, can you help me with this?" And the chick is like, "No, I'm not thirsty anymore." She's been drinking the whole night. I'm like, "Come on, just have a drink with me." And I just kept pushing. I'm like, "Come on, let's have a sip with me." And I just fucking called her out so hard. But yeah. So okay, yeah. Feel free to tell the story.
So I banged this stripper in Colombia like the night before I had to leave, and I was like going to get my flight. I think my flight was at 7, and I got up at like 5. You're supposed to be at the airport like 2 hours before or whatever. I got up like 4:30 or whatever. We were like up all night drinking and banging. I'm like shaking her like, "Hey, you got to leave." There's like in an Airbnb, and I spoke Spanish and everything, and she's like not getting up. I'm trying for like 10 minutes, and I'm like literally gonna miss my flight. I ended up actually.
You missed 2 flights leading up to that. I think that's the key thing to keep in mind. So
no, this was the first. I missed the second flight the next day, at the same time. 2 flights and each like $1,000. But yeah, long story short, I left her in the room. I told the security guard at the front of the building, like, kick this chick out of this room. Like, I have to leave. He's like, yeah, I see, like, etc. And the fucking girl broke into it was like chaos in Colombia. It was like total Wild West. She broke into like a locked room in the Airbnb where the landlord had like all his wife's sentimental shit and jewelry, took everything and shit all over the apartment. Literally shit. Like, I didn't see pictures of this or anything, but this is what the host claimed.
Dude, that's the most mind-blowing part. Like, what kind of an animal? Like, I understand the stealing, but like, she shit in the living room. Like, what is the incentive there? Like, you clearly have a bathroom in that Airbnb. Like, why would you shit in the living room? Well, I just want to see, like, want to know legitimately what was her driving motivation for that. Like, what was going through her mind? Like, fuck this gringo, I'm gonna shit in his living room.
No, but like between Medellin and Colombia, like Sonny got drugged and robbed. I got Ray-Bans stolen. You had a machete put to your throat. Your other friend, that one short, I don't know whose friend that was. That's some short dude that we know.
MJ?
Got it. No. Who was the other dude that got a knife put to his throat?
It was me and MJ. We were together.
Oh, but there was another dude that was like in a park. I taught like a 1-day boot camp with this guy. I don't remember. But yeah, he was an American.
Do you find that where you are now in Brazil, it's a lot safer, like on average, would you say?
In Florianopolis, yeah, it's very safe. It's like safer than, suburbs in the States. There's like, I don't hear about any violence here. Brazil gets a bad rep because Sao Paulo and Rio have a lot of crime, but it's mostly from drug violence.
So Florianopolis heavily differs from like like those bigger cities.
South Brazil is like the state of Santa Catarina is very safe.
Interesting. All right. So this is a question applicable to you. What's the best way to coach your main girl when cold approaching sets for potential threesome? If girls are vibing, is it best for your chick to lead the interaction and build compliance?
Initially, you let the girl lead the interaction. Like the girl's basically in there to like establish rapport, implement physicality, and then you come in and handle logistics and objections, and you just are like grandfathered in. You're basically like in by default since she already approved of your girl. But the way you can coach her is just tell her like the basics of objection handling. Like I had, remember that redhead that was on my channel?
The one with the big tits.
Yeah.
Yeah.
She would. Yeah, I cut her off. I caught her lying once, and she was done, and she cried for like 2 hours. We had like 8 or 9 girls we were having threesomes with too. And her and I were pretty close, but
I like her. She had good English.
Yeah, that might have been a mistake cutting her. I don't know. I just didn't want them
potential. I think
after they cross the line, I just don't want them. I don't want them on those terms ever again. My friends were like, "You're not going to cut that girl off. She's having like 8 or 9 threesomes with you." And I was like, "Nope, she's done." But basically, that girl, we were pulling from a nightclub one day. We did a lot of cold approach pulls for threesomes, and we were pulling, and the girl was like saying something to her, and she comes over and she's like, "Babe, she can't go with us. She can't leave her friends." And I was like, "Oh my god," because I hadn't like taught her objection handling 101, and that I can't leave my friends. By the way, comes up like 90% of the time, whether or not you're doing cold approach by yourself or with a girl. It's like the main objection when you're pulling from night game. Like if you just get good at handling that one, then you'll do really well pulling. Anyways, I gave her like the response.
How do you handle that one? What's your preferred way?
That'll cut. No, I say I can't leave my friends. I have to come back too because my friends are here too. So I'm like, listen. We're just gonna go like a few blocks away. We're just gonna go for like 10, 15 minutes. We'll be right back. I have to come back because my friends are here too. And they're like looking. I'm like, no, look at me. Like I have to come back. My friends are here too. I'm like, Pinky promised me we're coming back. And now you flip the ejection back on her. She puts out you hold out your pinky. She puts out her pinky. I'm like, kiss it doesn't count. She's like, boom, like, so we're coming back, right? She's like, yeah. And then you're like, all right, let's go.
Promise shit may sound dumb, but it's actually really clutch. Like I've done that quite a lot. I think I got that. I'm pretty sure I got that from you. But that shit works, man. Like girls take pinky promises very seriously. Like,
yeah.
When they take it.
Yeah, in foreign countries, they know what it is too from Netflix and shit or American movies. So I'll be like, you know, pinky promise, like, do you know this? And they're like, yeah. Or if they don't, I'll just tell them it's like a big.
You ever give girls like link to your product and be like, here, watch this?
Yes. Like with the current one that's been in a lot of my videos, I sent her the login. She didn't start going through it yet. I was gonna like go through it with her. I've known her for 9 months, but we didn't start. What's it called? We didn't start going through it together yet. I wanted to like kind of review my own product. Like sometimes I go back and like look through it just to like remind myself all the fundamentals, even though I wrote it. But I wanted to like go through with her, and then we like didn't set aside time. But yeah, like I want to like formally train a girl as I would a boot camp student.
Right. All right. So this is also kind of related to this. How do you avoid jealousy when introducing new rotation girls to your main girl? That's a good question. Even though your main girl is cool with it, the new girl may be hesitant or jealous at the start of a relationship.
Oh, okay. So, yeah, this can go both ways. So like the main girl like takes priority of everyone, and you know, I've like violated that a couple times by mistake, and you pay for it dearly. Like for instance, there was this chick that was like cutting my hair. She actually gave me this haircut, and she was on rotation since like March or April, and we had like a falling out one day because she found like 3 different kinds of hair colors here. She like in the shower, she found like red, blonde, and like some other shade that wasn't hers, and she like cried and all this shit and stopped seeing me. And then I like reignited it and got her to come have her first threesome ever with my new main chick, which turned out to be a bad call for both of them because she was still in love with me. So she was very jealous of the main chick, and the main chick didn't like, they were like competing against each other. Like the hairdresser one was like, hey, like him and I did this. And then she was like talking about all these memories and like sentimental type things to my main chick. And my main chick's like, I don't want to do this. And then I was like, well, she's fucking here, and we're all like about to hook up. So like, let's just fucking do it. And she's like, fine. But then later she was pissed. So, and it wasn't even good because like she didn't have her heart in it and stuff. So like basically like you give your main one the priority. And if she has any kind of, you try not to invite any girls that, that she could get jealous about, like any girls that have like a lot of feelings for you or whatever. And then in terms of when they meet your main, with them not getting jealous, they basically just like fall in line. Like they acknowledge like this is like the top of the hierarchy, and they just like realize their place. But it's not like the girls are usually like very cool with each other, like very chill. We won't even call back, like we won't put them on like threesome rotation unless they're like very chill and like, cool and laid back with the whole thing, because we don't want drama or like competition, any kind of bullshit. So I usually, we discuss. I discuss my main chick after, like, how did that go, or were you into that girl? Like, was that cool? If it's like all good to go, then we'll see her more. And if it wasn't, then we just make it a one-off. But there's been times where she's like wanting to pull the plug beforehand.
Yeah, in my opinion, and I think you'll probably agree with this, getting the girl very much involved in the process. Like, so instead of like the frame being, this is something I'm doing for John, this is something we're doing together for the both of us. That's like that subtle shift, like getting her very much into the whole thing, and like kind of what you talk about discussing it afterwards. I think that can make a big difference.
Yeah, and the other big thing, which I've violated a whole bunch of times, and it's very easy to violate, is you have to include your main chick. Like you have to bang them like just as much, or like show them just as much attention, which is hard to do. And I've like really pissed off a lot of girls that were doing the threesome thing.
You like favor the new girl in the threesome, basically.
Yeah, because it's like you're eating the same fucking, not so kind of maybe a bad analogy, because I still like banging the main one.
I understand what you're saying.
It's like eating the same meal every day, and then you're like, oh, here's a new meal. Like let me like keep eating the old meal. So it's like human nature to just like latch on to the new fun thing, but then it's at the expense of the girl that you like care about the most and all this stuff, and so then it can hurt her.
Yeah, I can see a lot of girls just not.
And that's how you like fucking like at one point she's like, I don't want to do this anymore because I did that, and then like we like sorted it out. But I've had it. Like, let me tell a real quick story. This was like maybe 10 years ago. I was doing this in Philadelphia. We had this girl over that was like a 10. Oh, this is like another way to do it. You go on the girl's Facebook Messenger. This is something I was doing way in the past. So it was like I had this like redhead girlfriend that was like 21, like covered in tattoos, green eyes. She was like full Irish, and she's like very exotic, like pale with red hair and green eyes, and covered in tats. And we had some threesomes, and she let me go on her Facebook and message hot friends of hers, as if I was her, but I was using like game. Like I was like leading things forward. And my angle was
very few girls will be down with that. I feel like that in itself is a feat.
My angle was I said, what did I say? I said, hey, me and my boyfriend just had like the most amazing experience last weekend. The girl's like, what was it? Oh, we had a threesome with one of my friends, and we were hesitant because I'm like pre-objection handling. We were hesitant because we were friends before, so we thought it might be weird, but it was like the best experience ever. And now we're looking for another girl that's kind of like with big tits and this and that. I just described like the current one I was messaging. This girl was like a 10, comes over, and she lived like an hour away or some shit. She like comes to stay with us for the weekend. Like super awesome sex with that girl. And my girl got jealous. My girl was really hot too, but like she got jealous because the girl looked really awesome naked and all that stuff. And that girl started really liking me. And at one point, my girlfriend like walked out of the room while the girl was riding me. And the girl's like, what do we do? And being like a fucking guy, I'm like, oh, just keep going. And so like she keeps banging me, and we're just banging one-on-one. And my girlfriend comes back in like 20, 30 minutes later, and she's like, what the fuck are you guys doing? I'm like, oh yeah. Sorry, we'll stop. So I like go to the shower, and then like the girl like comes in like 5 minutes later, and then we start fucking in the shower. And then my girlfriend like opens the curtain and is like, what the fuck?
This literally sounds like something out of a porno. Like when you're describing literally like a Bang Bros porno. You know what story I fucking love that I think you told me this a while ago. You were in New York or something, where you created a Tinder profile of a male model, right? And then you were like, hey, you got the conversation like, hey, my friend just got out of a relationship. He's kind of bummed out. You want to like, meet up with him. And then you met up with a chick for drink, and then you banged her, right? Or something like that.
Yeah. So I just took Well, real quick to finish that last story, like I like once my chick was asleep, I like went in the other room and like railed out this other chick again when she was like staying in the guest room. I don't know, just like, but that like room, that was like the last threesome we ever had together because she was like,
really sounds like out of a porno.
She's like, I don't like how that made me feel. So you can't like break the cardinal rule of like favoring the new girl over your girl, which is whatever. So yeah, in New York, that was March 2017. We were filming all this infield. I made like an Instagram model profile of like this super attractive guy that girls all thought was like a 10. I took like his 5 best pictures, made it into a Tinder profile. Almost every right swipe was a match. And I was trying to channel compliance, like hollow compliance basically through this fake profile. And so I tried a couple strategies. I tried saying like, hey, my best friend, he's a DJ in New York. He just got out of a relationship and he's like really down in the dumps and he needs to like rebound. I'm trying to be a good friend. Like, can you hook him up? And like, basically like, will you fuck my friend coming from a hot guy's profile? And then if they're like, well, can I fuck you first or whatever? I'd be like, oh, I'm out of town currently or whatever. Like I hid the distance on my profile or something. But yeah, so I was setting up girls to meet me through him, but I was also using it to like do social connections. Like I was like getting girls to come into like tables. A lot of the clubs in New York, you have to like have even ratio.
That's such an interesting angle. I love that.
Yeah. Like this guy was like matchmaking social situations, and you can like use it as just a lead collector. So that you can run my text scripts, take the phone numbers, put them into a spreadsheet, and then it's like an interesting term I coined. They become like immortal leads in the sense that normally, like say you got those numbers for real, they would start decaying and like within a week they'd be cold. But like you can just collect with this profile, and then you can hit from your real phone number. Hey, we matched on Tinder last month. I was traveling, just got back into town. Here's what I look like in case you forgot what I look like, and it would be a picture of me. And then they would just assume you were telling the truth. And if they didn't remember, which they usually didn't, they like most of them were like, wait, I don't remember you. I would say, oh, I knew you were gonna forget. Haha. Anyways, like I was on this trip. It was really cool. Just like just playing it off casual, and I banged a bunch of girls that way.
What was like the success rate roughly with that?
I didn't test it enough, but I banged some pretty hot girls with it. Like it works too with friends giving you dead leads. Like I would like my friend in Puerto Rico. He's like, dude, there's this really hot girl. I can never get her to meet up. And he sent me the number, and I'm like, hey, we met on Tinder last month. Just got back into town. Boom, had a drink stay, railed the shit out of her, and I never actually matched her. But if it's a Tinder lead, then it's not too far off of a story.
Right. Yeah, that's interesting. If your main girl is new to exploring her bisexual side, how can you help coach her in the beginning for showing intent, physically escalating, going for the kiss with target girls? Like say she's totally inexperienced to just like being with chicks.
If your main girl is new exploring her bisexual side, how can you help coach her in the beginning of showing intent? You can demonstrate for her. It's not that hard. Girls aren't fucking stupid.
Truth.
Like just tell. Like, that's why I would always have her say that you're pretty, because that's like the intent statement. And then the physically escalating, they're physically close on the dance floor. That's why I like the dance floor move. I don't do that. I don't ever take a girl to the dance floor personally, but I think it's good. When the two girls are dancing, like it's very easy. Like girls like to get all close and like make a scene and shit anyways. And it's easy to start kissing when they're close dancing on the dance floor.
Let's take like 2 or 3 more questions. I want to keep this shy of 2 hours because that's going to be like too intimidating for a lot of people. So this guy donated $2.
First time I don't need to go. Every time there's like chicks waiting. This chick was
waiting. We can go longer. You want to go longer? I don't mind. This is a fucking podcast. I think we're giving a lot of value. Alex, can you give more insight on escalation? So I mean, that's a pretty vague question, but generally speaking, and I've talked about this in multiple videos and posts. I try to escalate. So before I go in for the kiss, I escalate in other ways. Here are the ways that you can escalate. 1, eye contact, so just strong, intense eye contact. 2, body language, just kind of alpha body language. 3 is proximity, right? So, for example, if you're sitting really close to the girl, that's a lot more sexual than if you're sitting far away from her. So proximity is 1, and then just a lot of touches, right? You can touch her leg, touch her knee. I'll touch a girl a lot. And also you can escalate verbally. So just, like using a lot of, sexual humor and just the stuff you say. Also slowing down your speech. So if you talk a little bit slower, like, so how was your day? What's going on? Like stuff like that. That's a lot different than when I'm talking like this and talking really fast. So I'll do a lot of that kind of escalation. My goal is to basically build a shitload of sexual tension. Like the more sexual tension, the better. And the more sexual tension you have, the easier it's going to be when you're going for the kiss. And from there, it's pretty straightforward. Like make out, kiss down her neck. I'll like just feel out the situation. So I'll give her hair a very light pull and I see how she responds to that. I'll give her just a very light, like choke. And again, obviously this should all be 100% consensual. That goes without saying. But so I'll just like test her kinks a little bit. And then, kissing down her neck, suck on her tits, and then, like transition into like her hand on my dick, eating her out. And from there, it's pretty much, straight to sex. Yep. Any thoughts on
that? Is this like for back at the house?
Yeah.
Back at the house, I do like 10 minutes of like demonstrations of higher value stories with a lot of like sexual innuendos, light physicality. Then I tell them, like I get a little closer. I tell them I want to see their eyes. I get really close. I say, what color are your eyes? And then I say, like, let me see how you kiss real quick. We get into a makeout. Then I have them like rubbing along my leg and start rubbing my dick. And I'm rubbing the inside of their leg, hitting like the fucking clit with the bone in my hand. So it's like indirect clit stimulation.
Oh.
And then it goes from like indirect clit stimulation to like direct clit stimulation eventually with more making out. And I'm looking for like turn on areas like on their neck or et cetera. And then
I think that right there is huge. Like every chick will have a few things to just really get her, like it's either going to be her neck, her collarbone, her ear, her hair being pulled, her nipples, like, and every chick has like at least a few of those. So you can find that, like, and you just hammer that. That's going to be like game over.
Yeah. And then I have like a key phrase. Like once they're playing with the dick out of the pants, I say, are you good with your mouth? And then they start giving you head. And then I'll start fingering them. Like if you can reach down their pants or like up a skirt or whatever, I'll start fingering them while they're giving head. And then typically at that point, once they're giving you head, it's like pretty much game over. I'll be like actively fingering them, clothes come off, and then they usually hop on top to start.
Right. What are some date ideas you and your main girl see to have a threesome with a new chick? How do you frame the date? I'm assuming you're doing it straight to the house, right? Like, so it's you're threesome framing it. You're not like
it's always straight to the house. But I have had girls that have wanted to meet in public, and I talk them out of it. But I'm not.
Let's not get crazy now.
Yeah, I'm not against doing the public date. It's more like I just prefer not to. So I just talk. Like if they want to do the public date, it's just because they're like worried. Like, what if we don't all have connection, or what if we all don't have chemistry? You just can't like set it up. If they think it's like too set up to just be like they come over and hook up, they can back out. Like we had a chick that was like a Tinder match, and so we had never met her before, and we had like traded pictures and stuff like dirty pictures and all this, which is probably a mistake. And then like the day before when I sent the confirmation text, she blocked. That was on WhatsApp. So I sent her a text, got her to unblock, and then she's like, "Sorry, I was just nervous. Can we actually meet in public first?" I'm like, "Don't worry, we're totally cool. Like, there's no expectation to hook up. Like, let's just all hang out and see how it goes." Like,
yeah, taking the pressure off, I feel like is huge.
Yeah,
like that's a big thing for a lot of girls. They don't like pressure or expectations. The more pressure and expectations you can remove, like the more likely it is to go down. That's at least what I've found. This is a question I've asked you personally several times because I'm kind of fascinated by this as well. Like I physically don't think I could fuck as much as you do. I take vodka.
This is all you need. Maca. I take 500 milligrams. I take 2 in the morning.
With the maca?
2 in the morning and 2 in between each girl, basically. What?
Have you ever heard of low dose Cialis?
I've never tried Viagra or Cialis, which I should have because I'm a dating coach, but I'd never tried either one. I know they have like bad health, like Viagra increases overall blood flow.
They do. But what's becoming popular in the last few years is low dose Cialis. So like, let's say the standard dose Cialis like 50 milligrams, you would do like 5 milligrams. And the idea is that It's good for like working out and shit because it increases more, blood. It's good for your heart health. Like, it has a lot of actually health benefits, and also it'll make you like fuck better. I've never tried it, but
this is golden standard. I actually learned about this from Sonny Arvado originally, but this 500 milligrams, you just take basically a gram, so two 500 milligrams, a gram in the morning, and then a gram in between different rounds of girl. Like not each round, but like say you like bang one girl twice, take the maca, have another girl over, like take the maca. Like that girl, that 9.5 we pulled from brunch, like I busted like 11 nuts that day just with maca. Like I banged my main chick like twice. Like twice in the morning, then we had brunch, brought that girl home, banged like 7 nuts from there. And then after she left, my main chick let me have a chick over when she went in the other room and went 2 rounds on that girl.
I do think you're legitimately like special in that sense. Like I feel like most guys, they like physically can't. Like I know I could not bust 11 nuts in a day. Like that to me wouldn't even be pleasant if I could. Like for me, if a girl is really hot, I'll fuck her 2 or 3 times. But like 11 times.
And a lot of them are cream pies too, because there's the vasectomy.
Hashtag vasectomy game. So we can quickly address this. You still take TRT, right?
Embora. Quasi pronto. How much time do we have left?
Well, let's do like 2 more questions. We'll call it because my neck is starting to hurt as well.
5 minutos. 5 minutos y assistimos o filme. Sí, 5. Okay.
You're still doing TRT, right?
Yeah, I started.
I started right around the same. Well, you started a little earlier than me.
I started it like 2 years ago, and then I stopped for like 6 months in Poland, and because I was like binge drinking on it, which was like really bad.
Yeah, it's not good. What did you notice when you got off TRT? Like, what were the differences? What, like you being off it and you being on it?
I think I lost a lot of sex drive. Like my levels were like high 200s, low 300s or whatever. I think I fucked my endocrine system. Like when I was living in Vegas in 2013, I was going out like 6-7 nights a week till 4 or 5 a.m. and then getting up at like 7 or 8 for work. I was like falling asleep at the wheel. Shit. Yeah. But I was also just eating pizza and beer as like my only 2 things. Like a frat boy.
Yeah, I think I'm probably gonna do TRT indefinitely. I don't see any detriments to doing it, and it's good in some ways. But it wasn't like a total game changer for me. It wasn't like I got on TRT and like I suddenly became superhuman. It just kind of helped a little bit. Like I just found myself able to retain a little more muscle and maybe like. But my sex drive, honestly, it was never like super high. Like I do not have the sex drive that you do. Like let's put it this way: I can fuck a lot more than I actually do. Like I'll typically take nights off here and there and shit like that. But it's just me. All right, let's actually end it off on this question because it's a interesting question. Can you guys go into the pros and cons of red pill theory quickly?
Look at his picture.
Tai Lopez, yeah.
Tai
Lopez from the garage. So me personally, I've talked about this several times in the past.
I fucking hate Tai Lopez.
He's a marketer. But anyway.
Real quick, when Tai Lopez was like, I remember he was like spending the most out of every YouTube advertiser. I used to frequently have like Tai Lopez ads come up during sex because I would play like
yeah,
music playlists, and then you'd hear like Tai Lopez.
Dude, the worst is when you have like, do you ever have like, because I do the same thing, I play the YouTube, and then like sometimes it's about like starving children in Africa or like cancer and shit, and like obviously I feel bad, but it's like, like you're escorting a girl, and it's like, so people are dying of cancer every. I'm like, ooh, yeah, it's kind of funny.
Yeah, okay. Well, first of all, like some of the major proponents are huge fucking losers, like Rollo Tomasi, who's like skinny and ex-beta and is married, and he's like, never get married, like go to the gym, maximize your SM. Like he basically is like the opposite of everything he preaches.
He's not walking the walk.
Yeah, and then he like endorses like modern life dating, who's just a product copycat.
Yeah,
a lot of those red pill guys are like huge fags. Like I want to do like a massive red pill roast. They just like get together in like these big groups, and a lot of them look like total fucking losers, and they're just like, here's how you be the ultimate man.
Yeah,
But like,
I'm not a big fan of red pill. Honestly, the litmus test is this: is the person that's teaching you, is that a person that you'd want to have their? All right, let's think about it this way, right? If you're looking for, if a guy who was broke was giving you business advice, you wouldn't listen to him. If a guy who was fat or super skinny was giving you business advice, you wouldn't listen to him, right? Because he's not walking the walk. But with pickup, I find that guys they don't have the sex life that anyone could be jealous of. They still listen to them. Like, oh, well, this guy seems like he knows what he's talking about. But like a lot of those red pill guys, they don't have a sex life that I would be jealous of. Like that's like they haven't been laid in like 6 months. I'm like, so like why would you ever listen to this guy? So I think a lot of red pill guys are not walking the walk. A lot of them, I see a lot of bitterness and resentment. I do think there's some good underlying concepts they talk about. I think they exaggerate a little bit too much. I do think there's some theory foundations, but I think at the end of the day, the big thing that I really disagree with is a lot of them feel like if you just, optimize other areas of your life, like girls will just like magically fall into your lap. And I just know so many like rich dudes who get no pussy. Like you still have to know a game, and you still have to like, you still have to like approach girls unless you're like a hardcore celebrity. Like you still have to approach girls, and like if you like their theory is that just focus only on yourself, and then everything will take care of itself. But that's just not true.
Yeah,
it's kind of my take on that. All right, so I think we covered. This was actually quite a good live stream. We covered a lot of really good shit. So give guys a rundown of how they can learn more about your coaching and your follow you and all that.
Yeah, so John Anthony Lifestyle YouTube. I'm trying to get back to a video a day, but at least probably like 4 or 5 videos a week. But I've got like 500 videos.
You got to get back to doing the roast, man.
Yeah, the problem is like I don't want to half-ass any of them. Like after I did the first Modern Life Dating, people sent me like so much dirty dirt that I'm gonna show all of it. But like, there's like so much. I got like 100 emails, and it's like I want to include all of it, and I want to like or at least a lot of the good stuff. But I have to like sort through all the impact. It's not a priority. There's like a lot of other shit going on.
I almost feel like you should have like 2 channels, like a roast channel and like your main channel.
Yeah, that'd probably be smarter. Yeah, because I almost had my channel taken down a bunch of times because people false copyright strike. Like RSDs tried to false copyright strike me. I had to like threaten a lawsuit so they would stop doing that. But they tried, and they'll try to do it very sneaky. Like they take down any channel that talks shit on them. So they'll try to do it very sneaky. They'll report like 3 or 4 videos at once because you need 3 strikes to get a channel down. Right. And YouTube like groups the strikes now, or like groups the complaints into 1 strike, and it's like, haha, fuck you. But like they took down the Julian CNN parody. They took down the Todd V roast, even though Todd's not with their company anymore. They took down any video that talked bad about them. I had to fight all of them, and I won and got them all back. And then the Derek roast got struck down pretty quick. So
I've definitely come like a little bit like when you first started doing the roast, I was like, oh, like why is he bothering with that? But I find them extremely amusing. Like now I look forward to your roast. Like when you're like, yo, dude, I have a new roast coming out. It's like I'm like, oh fuck yeah, like I'm gonna fucking listen to this shit when I drive my car. I think your roasts are highly amusing, and they do have a lot of truth to them. So I think that
well, yeah, I think it's important for guys because most like 99% of the industry is full of shit. 99% of the industry is scamming people and ripping them off.
Pretty much, yeah.
I take this game very seriously, like in the sense that like I devoted my whole life into optimizing it and playing it. It's like in any sport, if you had like people coming in and making a mockery of poker, making a mockery of UFC fighting or of chess tournaments or whatever, you have a whole bunch of people that aren't qualified to even play the sport or teach at an expert level that are like high powered marketing machines that are like selling everyone the dream and then delivering nothing. And I've dealt with the fallout of it for 10 years. Almost everyone I talk to has spent at least time and effort with other companies, wasting their time, but in a lot of cases money as well. And I'll get virgins come to me, hey, I'm 28 years old. I took a Todd V program, Natural Lifestyles program, RST program. I'm still a virgin. I'm like, all right, we'll solve that in week 1. Day 4, the guy I'm thinking of, he left a review on my channel. Day 4, loss of virginity, ends up with 8 girls in 2 months. And he literally had more dates set than me some weeks because I'm like spending a lot of time on my main chick. This guy was a virgin. Now he's performing at an advanced level. He's on track to do 50 to 100 a year. It's not rocket science. You just need to know how to do the right stuff in the correct way. But, our channels are very small in comparison to a lot of these fucking assholes that are spewing shit.
Well, I'm definitely changing that slowly. I plan to get to 100K probably, hopefully by within the next 4 or 5 months.
Like I'll see in the forums, people will say like, "Oh, you're not a legit coach if you talk shit on other coaches." It's like, what the fuck does that mean? Like I have some of the best results in the entire industry, and I have no problem speaking. I'm like literally the only coach that speaks out openly against all these fucking pieces of shit, and I take lots of heat for it. I'm like hated.
You are probably the only coach that does that. At least that.
Yeah, and it's not to gain views. It's not to be a hater. It's not because these guys are more successful. It's because you have like RST Tyler is like my favorite example. It's like one of the most beta examples of like a most beta guy you can find. Okay, that's made his way into a niche that he has no business in, and guys worship him as like a god, as like a pickup god. Okay, and I knew him very well. I caught him in tons.
It is a little culty for sure.
But the fact is, he's not doing most of the stuff. He's full fabricating tons of stories and results, and he's like his real life is like totally the opposite of what he portrays. His programs don't work, and just being sent on a boot camp to just mass approach is a waste of time. But let me talk about how guys can.
Well, before you do that, let me ask you a quick question. Do you find that RSD, because I think RSD has some, or at least their old shit had some truth to it, like a lot of bullshit, but also some good concepts. Do you find that, or do you think it's all bullshit?
Of course, it wasn't all bullshit. I think the closest thing, like being totally honest, the closest thing to a value, a solid set of value that was put out was Julian's manifesto. Julian's called it.
What about his first product, Pimp? That was honestly my favorite RSD product. Julian's Pimp.
It was a lot of recycled bullshit. I don't know. The thing is that RSD doesn't churn out beasts. Like the guys that come through my program get very consistently very good. A lot of them get advanced within the 2 months. So my thing that I run now, it's an 8-week mentorship. It's I divided the game into 8 major pieces. Week 1, we focus on online game. Weeks 2 and 3 is night game. Week 4 is day game. Week 5 is texting. Week 6 is public dates. Week 7 is closing back at the house. Week 8 is rotations and retention. And the whole idea is that I'm giving optimal trainings being delivered into a portal each week. So guys are getting the optimal set of training across those major 8 areas. So they're not just good at day game, or not just good at night game, or not just good at online. They're good across the whole game. So there's no bottlenecks anywhere. And then there's 4 calls per week. There's 2 with me and 2 with the head coach on my team. And we just basically are blasting through every weak area for each particular client and each bottleneck. So we're iteratively upgrading session by session. And so there's 32 calls across those 8 weeks. So within 2 months of time, there's going to be a lot of opportunities to go on dates, do lots of cold approaches, do lots of texting. And we're literally like spot checking, fixing every problem as soon as it comes up. So equipped with the optimized training and the optimized mentoring to iteratively push you past any weak spot or any bottleneck. It's like I feel like it's like the ultimate offering now in the niche is no offense to your stuff. Your stuff's very good as well. But I feel like it's the most comprehensive.
It's just totally different, business model. But I think we should do some kind of, if you're up for this, some kind of special thing for people who get to your mentorship from this product, like whatever, like something, and we'll do like a special link if you're down with that.
Yeah, let's do that. Yeah, but you go to platinumdatingsystem.com. Platinumdatingsystem.com.
We used to do that with your old product. I forget what it was, but we used to do like something like 25% off. I won't even take an affiliate. I won't even take a commission. We just like straight up just whatever, hook guys up. I never really taking affiliates.
If you have interest in that, go to platinumdatingsystem.com, book a call, and you'll speak to me for 30 minutes, and I'll tell you, like, I basically ask guys, like, how many girls have you been with? What are your self-identified weak spots? What are your goals? How old are you? What city are you in? And then I say, like, here's my plan for how we would make you advanced within 2 months. And then, like, literally then they're on track 50 to 100 a year. They can replicate that for the rest of their life, build up a rotation in any new city within a month, and then the sky's the limit. They can settle down with a girlfriend. They can build a rotation. They can do whatever they want. But I give them the highest probabilities to take any girl from online night or day, bring it to phone numbers, bring it to dates, bring it to closes, bring it to retention. And I give them the best odds at each step of the way. So it's it's sort of like a comprehensive overhaul to make guys advanced.
Nice. And okay, for guys who just want to get a better feel for your content, you're mainly active on YouTube, right? Or you're starting your Instagram now?
Yeah, YouTube. My old Instagram got banned during a pickup conference talk where I was bashing Tyler, and then I was like, by the way, guys, follow me on Instagram, and then it got mass reported during my.
I was there. You should restart the blog, dude. You should get the blog going again.
Yeah, I mean, I think that those old posts are pretty valuable though, because I was working through them.
I've gone through a few of them. They definitely are, dude. Send me. We'll definitely throw one up as a guest post. What you were talking about earlier, like your innovations, we'll throw it up as a guest post on the WF side. I think that's gonna be interesting. And we'll link.
Yeah, I was working through the sticking points like from the mindset of an intermediate guy, whereas now I'm like, I'm so far removed from a lot of that stuff. It's hard to put myself back in that position because I have such like a deep understanding now. Like, I see like every little detail now. It's hard to put myself in the mindset of someone who is still a beginner or still advanced or still an intermediate. But
yeah, I can relate to that. I've had that issue myself. But yeah, man, I think so we'll link everything in the description. This was a dope live stream. I think we covered a lot of value here. See, this is what happens, man, when you give it your 100%. We get like a lot of value when you're not distracted. Yeah. So
guys, I'm sweating. It's because I have a ring light in my face.
We should do these like once every 2 or 3 months. Pop it on. I think the next one we should do is like we'll break down. We should do a video where we break down like all the misconceptions that are like in the pickup community, just like a definitive like here are the the core beliefs or whatever the principles, and here's which are the bullshit ones. So I think that would be a dope video for us to do.
Yeah, I'll bring you on my channel as well. I want to go over texting and online stuff from your point of view.
Yeah, let's do it. I've also had some quite recent innovations. I've actually had some. I've been doing a lot of cold approach lately. Well, not a lot, but like I've been doing more of it than I was for like a year or so. And I've had a few key realizations. I'll give one away real quick. I'm gonna make a video on this, but a big one. I've just gotten to the point where, and I'm sure this is something you've talked about in the past, is that day game is inferior to evening game. So instead of going out around like 4 or 5 o'clock chatting up girls, I'll go out around 10 o'clock when girls are going to bars or coming back from bars or from dinner with my dog. And it's like fucking like, I don't know, it's a high success rate, like something like 50% of girls I talk to, like I get their number. It's like a solid number. Just walking around like around 10 o'clock when girls are in a more social mood, like with my dog. I think the dog thing is a game changer, man. You got to get a dog. It's like a shortcut because every girl just thinks you must be like a normal, caring guy if you have a dog. So doing that has been big for me. Just literally.
You told me that video of like a dude like kicking you out of a shop because of the dog, and you were like, he has paper. You're like, I have papers. They told me.
I know. You know what's funny? I contacted upper management, and now I can go to that store with my dog, and that guy has to look at me walking my dog, my fucking big ass husky in his store every single day. So I ultimately won that fight. Yeah.
Wait, can you clear the Lopez thing off? Clear that question off because it should put up. It should put up the link to my thing as my name again. There we go. So yeah, the little link right below my face is where to go for that. We do have limited spots for that. We only let a certain amount of guys come on for the whole. It's rolling admission, but we have a max cap on that. So
yeah, we'll link everything in the description. Yeah, man. Thank you for coming on. I think this is a dope live stream.
We got into a lot of. I don't usually get that in depth in terms of like actual strategies, like the rotation stuff and this and that. We like pretty much put it all on the line, so that's nice.
Yeah, that's good. My philosophy is always to put out a lot of value as much as possible. And we'll do another coach panel. I know you love those in a few weeks.
I wanted to say, because I didn't get to say it that time, but I wanted to say like I actually coached Andrew over Skype a couple of years ago. Andrew Miak in game. But that's cool. He's got his own little micro niche now with the sex stuff.
True. But I do think that like whether that shouldn't be like a point against someone, because like as you kind of mentioned it earlier, like you always want to be learning from people who are doing something. Like I would say, like even though we've never done official like coaching or anything like that. Like I have definitely learned some things from you for sure.
Yeah, no, but he was like under 100 at that time. That's like the main point. Like I don't think he's at expert level yet to be giving game advice, maybe sexual advice, but
that's like kind of his angle though. He just mainly focuses on like sexual shit. But anyway, man, yeah, good shit. We'll link everything in the description. Thanks for coming on, dude. Have a good one, brother.
I'm gonna go wake up.